I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, call this meeting in order.
I'll make a motion that we approve today's agenda, January 31st, 2020.
Second,
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
make a motion to approve the minutes for January 24th, 2023.
I second that.
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll start with meetings attended.
I was supposed to have one last Friday, a continuation of that.
Mississippi Valley.
Yeah, Mississippi Valley, I was unable to attend, so don't worry, there'll be another one this Friday. So,
But you, Brad.
And EMA. Tonight, had a meeting, we went out and measured some windows out there at the complex. Just trying to get a ballpark what the windows are gonna cost. Something else. Conservation, conservation.
In case I had a special.
Oh, a special meeting. That wasn't conservation, it was a special meeting, but it was kind of a conservation. We had to call a meeting order and stuff, so, and he went out there that too, so. He's out there on. Public meeting training, and
Thursday,
I think it was
Thursday.
Yeah, it was after this, our
Yeah.
budget
Right
session.
after last two. Thursday after. I hadn't. Nothing that I can think of right off the moment, so. I've handed Sean the Casey's, would be number 12.
you wanna do that, Sean?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the Class E liquor license for Casey's.
And I'll second it.
Okay, you got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then this would be the one out in the country at Newport, not in the city limit.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion on the special claims for the health insurance January 31st, 2023.
Okay, you'll have a little discussion here because you're the only one I've showed it to. There we go. Send it over to. Yeah. Sandy, this is just part of doing business. Yeah.
The billing's off a little bit.
The person in that position.
You get her attention yet? Can you get that new person's attention yet?
It's just a lot of moving parts.
Here's the auditor's report. They're gonna have to get on her about sales for flat bucks, only $56 worth of flat bucks again. Are you buying them just to make it look good or? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, stockpile. Furniture.
We have no payroll changes that I see. Do we have any public input from the public here? Randy or Bill?
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report.
Okay, it's
Two open motion.
I'm gonna
Do we-
second the approval of the health insurance.
okay. We have a motion second on the health insurance special claims.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we have a
Motion on the floor about the auditor's quarterly report. flat book size.
Is that this right
That's,
here?
no, this one right here, you're looking at the treasures.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion in a second.
Yeah, it doesn't take you long to peruse.
$56. Yeah, I don't worry about that.
We
The
got
minute help us count votes, that'll
No.
take you a little.
Okay, got a motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we have. There's no payroll changes, can't open bids for 20 minutes yet.
So what is this
We could do 14.
semi-annual report from the treasury?
Yeah, I got Sean looking at it. Is this an extra one?
No, that's the one that came
That's a
from,
special plan,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, the treasurer, instead of quarterly, she does semi-annual reports. So
okay,
she has one in June and one she does for December. One
okay,
for June and one for December. They have to be published. So you guys,
basically shows income and expenses,
and yeah,
okay.
Let's back here. Got the line here.
wanna write Brian T on the
Yeah, Rand P on that. That's that property that.
Why doesn't she do quarterly?
state code.
Okay. Just curious.
Guess the next thing we could do is talk about, go to 11 and talk about our EMS as essential service. Appointments to that one.
Sure. I forgot I had the Southeastern Regional Planning meeting last Thursday.
Yeah, you just barely made it here.
Yeah.
You need a motion on this treasurer's report?
Sure do.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-annual treasurer's report. For file 1/24/23.
We'll leave that.
Okay.
Motion on the floor and
If you want to talk about the essential service, I think, if I remember correctly, it says that. EM or paramedics or emergency personnel. Not may, but shall be appointed on the board, so we need to have those people. On the board, now however you want to handle that, it's up to you. Cross section of people from. The ambulance boards or the, not the boards, but the. People that are actually in the ambulance service probably would be. Wise.
I think it was decided before 5, wasn't it?
So
And then like a representative from each.
5 or 7, we're still in a. And I don't know, we probably had to have a person at large from the county or something also too, from, that don't necessarily.
So you take one from Columbus, one from Wapello, one from Morning Sun. And that leaves 3, then you just do 2 other people,
Well, one's gonna be a supervisor,
all right? Is that a voting member or a non-voting member?
voting member, it usually is.
Okay. Just asking.
because they'll. Supervisors will
All they're
kind of
doing
hold
is
the purse
recommending
strings.
How to put it on the ballot to go to the people.
That was a question I had, is the supervisor still in charge of the money and all, or does this look like the township trustees? Township trustees, they take care of their own business.
Well, if it's a,
You know,
tax
they
thing.
report to you or anything?
I think it's something that we was gonna be in charge of. What we thought originally is because it comes to,
We levy the money,
you levy the money, so.
but we levied the money for mental health years ago and didn't sit on no board.
I'm just asking, because there are some questions out there about, the involvement of this, of the supervisors and all, and
Like
With
with,
only a 5-man board, that kind of narrows it down, and when I say man, I mean person, sorry.
yeah,
So I'm just, and I also wondered, will their meetings be published in public for people to attend and listen to what's going on? or-
Sure.
If it's government money. it
Yeah,
has to
sure,
be.
it's open.
well,
Well,
the taxpayers' money.
You know, those
Yeah,
people have
right.
to realize that getting on there, that, hey, you can't just call a meeting and have it, you gotta
Right,
make sure anybody that wants to know about it.
no, it's an open public meeting.
Yes. We just had a class on that.
Okay. Well, it's just questions that I've had that come up, and I was thinking, like a 5-person, that's not very many to
Maybe it ought to be a 7,
cross section, and well,
because not everybody shows up.
right,
Yeah.
that's another thing. I mean, you get too large where you don't have a quorum short, but you gotta. So before you make your decisions, it's just.
Yeah. But I think the 7 want to be what we start, and then we can, refine it when we get going. I think it's gonna take a lot of talks, a lot of direction, a lot of input. And I just think, starting out, you maybe have to look at a 7 and then go, once it gets going, maybe reduce it.
And back to Sean's comment, you said
I'll
like
second that.
I don't know if it's a code or whatever you read, it said shall not may. So these people that are, oh, now what's it say about all of them or just some of them?
The board shall be made up of.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't say how many as far as I know, but it said it, not may, it shall have those
Okay,
people on there.
So that makes me, a supervisor, how is he shall be on, I know you probably.
Well, I don't know that the whole board needs to be made up of those people.
In any
but-
of the counties that have done this, that have the advisory board, which is just recommending how. They're recommending how the tax should be put on the ballot. That's what this advisory board is for. What is needed for that county,
Okay,
and all those boards have had a supervisor on them,
I was just trying to.
so.
I think,
I think we're lucky we got 2 people that have been there as emergency people.
I think the first thing is to get it on the ballot and get it. The verbiage right and get it approved. Once it's approved, then you've got time to. Figure out how it's gonna be structured and
Or
how
once
it's
you get
gonna
the
be.
advisory board working on it, then you can figure out
Right.
the other steps of like asking. How, if it's handled like the trustees and all that.
Cause if it's not approved, it's just a moot point.
Sure,
Yeah,
that's true.
I
we
mean,
have to
it's-
educate the voters.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
I think the voters is gonna want a blueprint on how you're gonna,
Well,
how much funds it's
Yeah.
gonna need and how you're gonna operate.
and that's their job.
Is the beginning one,
Yes.
right?
That's
Is
their
it
job.
another board later on, after it's approved and starts over?
Advisory board will make that determination, but I think there would be.
Okay. All right.
Good question, Bill.
Well,
I mean, we're still.
We're learning too.
But
Okay,
maybe starting out, I had a second on that.
Right. Just to clean up business here, we got a motion and second on the treasurer's semi-annual report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think you should probably put it on the next agenda and invite the ambulance. Groups here so that. You can get a little input. Griffin has quite a bit of insight on this. He's read that top to bottom, so.
And we need them, each group, name their representative.
Right.
I don't think we ought to, I think it should be coming from them, who they
Who
suggest.
they suggest, right? I want to put somebody on there that doesn't want to be on there.
No, and I want somebody that's gonna be at every meeting. We have to have that. Cause we got, this is gonna be, when is that gonna come on the ballot?
Well, it depends on the advisory board, I can't tell you.
Would it be
It
probably
depends
this
on
fall?
how long. It depends on how long it takes them to get the information
I don't think it'll take that long. really.
and decide how to tax and that, so.
Because I think we need to go out and find out from other counties that's done it. There's 5 counties right now that's done it.
What would be the deadline to get all the information to you to get it on the November ballot?
I would have to look.
Look that up and that would be our line in the
Wasn't it
sand to
June?
say, hey, we need to have all this done. And
Well, this is a city school election coming up. It's not a primary general.
yeah, no, I'm looking at November.
So,
I think that the
We
one's
really have
coming
to
up.
rush to get the March one.
and I don't know if, like, a public statement can be on. There are certain times they can be on ballots. So that depends too.
So you got a little research to do. Yeah, cause I don't have a clue.
So,
So we're gonna table this.
So next meeting, I'll make a motion that we table it to next week's meeting, February 7th.
I would second that with the exception of make sure that we contact the.
Yep.
Emergency service personnel that have.
From each
Each area.
and ask them to come prepared with
Right.
person
a
to.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no payroll changes. We got bids to open, we got about 15 minutes before we can open them.
Fine.
Maybe Adam will sneak in here or something.
So, can I ask what's going on after this? You got complex budget?
That's for out of the complex, like the red sheriff's.
Oh,
and
okay, cause I thought that's what we had been doing the last month. Jeez. General service,
Courthouse, that's another department.
who is that?
That's like Tracy's salary and then like the supplies and the
Okay.
tools and
Clerk
all
of
that,
court,
yeah.
what's non?
departmental,
Yeah.
which is where everything we don't know what to do with gets thrown.
Just throw it in there.
Miscellaneous.
I have that, it's called, I don't know what to do with it, we're gonna throw it on this shelf and ask Sean later what it goes to. Okay. Veterans Affairs. That's Adam, right?
Yes.
Mental health and
GA.
what's GA?
General assistant with Cindy Mears does.
Okay.
This one, that won't take much.
Zoning has a budget?
Sure does.
Which is basically a contract with rural
Right.
utility service.
Okay. And then public health. Information technology,
It's RNS.
IT stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big budget.
It's a contract with RNS and yeah, it has turned into a big budget. Cause we had so many 1980. Or equipment,
You had to come back in.
we had to turn the whole fleet over.
And IT officials that are from the 80s, I think, too, so.
Yeah, I thought that. Which one?
He's doing awesome.
He's great.
Yes, yes.
And non-departmental is, I mean, it's on there only once. I had to juggle stuff around and I think it messed with my spacing and it got kind of funny. So,
So then the historical society, the ambulance,
Mhm.
libraries. Health insurance,
Which that's a big one.
do people show up for that, or is it just paperwork that we get?
after Jerry is here, we should have.
Have
numbers to
anybody?
be able
Okay.
to work on that.
But you'll see. How big that budget is.
Well,
It's a
and really,
big
it's
one.
just for a few departments, because like roads has it in theirs and sheriff's has it in there.
Contract.
Are you sure there isn't anybody else in this county that would like to show up and ask for some money?
No, yes.
Holy
Yes.
smokes.
Said that in front of the press.
Last week's has been full.
Does this stay on track time wise?
Yes.
Try to.
Try to.
It could move a little faster because there's shorter budgets.
Well, I'm interested in the 3 o'clock and I didn't want to sit here through all the rest.
Yeah, too
Well,
bad.
You both said.
I gotta be here.
What I would do is 2:30. 2:30 come in for that one.
I get hangry. And you don't want to see that.
And Tammy won't be here, but I told her we were still gonna go ahead and go over her budget, and we discussed just a couple of things. So,
She's still under the weather? Really? That's
she
been a
was
week.
better and she was back yesterday morning, but then she called me this morning and she did not sound good.
Hmm. It's going around.
Yeah. Yeah, I stayed at a week at a motel because my wife had COVID, so I stayed away from her for a week. God, it was a good vacation. Did I say that out loud?
Depressed.
What'd you do? You probably would have messed with all the piece of quiet.
It was quiet. I worked over there. till about-
She probably thought the same thing, I'll be honest
She
with you.
did think the exact
Uh-huh.
same thing.
You know, he's being.
Yeah, the whole county could
Yeah.
listen to this.
And we listened to it
Yeah, what's this one over here? Is that Jane?
That's Jane on there, yeah. Anybody else want any copy?
No. Only one person.
Use a number.
Was taken care of by the state.
It might be a little bit later than that too, because Bobby had an appointment, she's gonna jump on Zoom. Cindy has a meeting when she's on, and I think she gets on.
Can I ask how many bids we got for the food pantry?
We got two.
Well, the one we had,
And then another one.
and then the other one.
All right.
But we can't open them till 9 o'clock.
You said we didn't have any payroll changes?
Nope.
Okay.
Starts warming up tomorrow, don't it? Know what they say.
The Friday drops off again.
Okay.
And then it's nice all next week, 30s, 40s.
We've actually had a pretty good, well, it was the warmest, well, the third warmest January's on record, so.
Well, this is normal weather and we're kind of.
Bitching about it, yeah. Yeah, well, I seen this one goes all the way down to San Antonio. I seen they was in chance of freezing. So that goes quite a ways down.
Think so.
Oh, how you doing? Haven't seen you. I see you last year.
know, right?
Yeah. How's your world?
Okay. Health insurance, always fun.
So you came to tell us how far it's dropping and
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
We kind of figured that.
It's still good. It's
Not as good.
not as good. We've been spoiled, right? With
Yeah.
like nothing, no increases, but it's good.
Yeah, but it's a big enough figure. Any increase hurts.
I know, right? The far cry from when I first started working with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Upside down, and I mean, it was. You'll see, the reserves are building back up. We fixed. a little bit of a problem years ago. Right, Sandy?
Yeah. That was fun for me.
That was. Hopefully we'll never have to go through that. We were meeting with unions and I mean, it was.
Cause I heard about it before I came in, so.
So, yeah, we dug out of a hole a little bit.
Yeah. 18 and 20% increases weren't no fun.
And you weren't funding the partial, the self-funded piece was upside down and you were bleeding money because they were too aggressive and. So not only was Walmart going up, but I was giving you the news of, hey, I mean,
You needed more money.
you're bleeding here back, I mean. That's why we had to get unions, so they understood. Hey, this, I mean. this is a-
Luckily, we had the rep we did at the time.
Yes.
She,
Yeah, you got too aggressive to show you good
well, the
rates.
union guy was good.
Oh, yeah, he got it.
Yeah,
Like, we're not trying to hose it. I mean, this is the reality of
Mhm.
where we're at. We have a couple directions here.
Last year or 2 years ago, we had the state went through and on our insurance for our properties. We was like half of what the values was, you know, so. Cause the values,
All that,
yeah, so that one quite a bit too. But, yeah, if we can't build a courthouse for, I think we had it insured for 12 or something like that, and then it came out as 26, man, so.
just crazy to build it. It's just.
I always consider myself, I got so much insurance, I'm insurance poor from premium.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you gotta have it.
I mean. You could roll the dice to not do anything.
Is gutsy and would self-insure your properties for 3 years. Do you think you could survive a catastrophe then?
Yeah.
I know, but it's that 3 years, it scares you.
Well, the fire department opened my eyes at, because it don't take nothing to get a whole apartment out, you know, it's. But if I had to go 3 years not paying insurance, that would be a
Yeah,
minimal
but
loss.
just yesterday-
It would be a minimal loss, but who would save that money?
No, yeah, well, you'd have to
Who would put
set
that
it
in
up
the
and
bank?
discipline yourself. Or have an understanding banker or something.
I don't know if they make them anymore.
Yeah, they're.
Well, is it close enough, 9 o'clock, we can open these
I think
bids?
so. Yeah, clock's off.
There we go, there's you a bid, and there's a bid. Now that you guys sorted out.
What's the extra pieces of paper on these?
Summary of.
Of what's on there? Okay.
the one we had, and I used it to make the ad and stuff, so it might be some of my notes, I don't know.
Brad, you wanted to go with the more efficient one, right?
Yeah, I think for payback, I think it's.
Well, yeah. Is that how we advertised? Was the more, so I don't even need to look at this other one.
We had that down for option 2. Where we could compare apples. to
Oh,
apples.
okay, all right,
But the preferred one was 96.
okay.
And then the 14th above Sear. And your condition. Here's this one, so Prepare that. You want to look at it?
Yeah, I'll look at it.
Read that upper part. That's what I was concerned about. More than anything, so. And that's addressed exactly. What we've been on. There's several rooms that does not have, heat runs to it or cold air return back to the furnace, so I made that in the bid that we'd have that included.
Okay, that's the optional thing
Yes.
here, okay.
And then,
How many, I haven't been in that building, how many, how's it, rooms is it divided into?
5, I think.
Hmm.
Cause one used to be a garage part
Right.
on the side. It's chopped up pretty good. And I didn't realize they haven't had air conditioning for quite some time. That's bad.
It's
on
never
this.
been here.
It had it, but it broke down because of stuff.
A little hard on the food in there, isn't it?
And we got employees donating their time to go into a heat box.
No. Well, if they're there today, they're cold.
Yeah.
And they probably are.
And we got one in this office too. It's probably 5 years beyond its life. Sitting right here in this hallway, that's terrible too, so. we have-
Oh, this furnace area. Well, we probably need to do insulation in the ceiling too.
Yeah.
Cause you can see where the ductwork.
Yep.
Or insulated ductwork or something.
Yeah, you can see it don't hold snow much on the roof.
Well, can you read the bids out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we're gonna go with option number 1, which is the
90%.
well, this is 96%, but yeah, I have one from Moore Plumbing. Installed for $69.60. And I have one from Odessa Mechanical for $63.50. They look to be pretty close on everything that I can see.
And on the Moore's, was it that was the option, they had a second option on that?
Option for ducting.
Yeah, and that included that price on that chain.
Says add registers as listed above. We will add a supply register to each of the rooms that currently do not have a supply register. The current airdrop from the ceiling will be tied back to the new return airdrops and filter rack. So I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Is that the way you read it?
I didn't see, I seen his last week or 2 weeks ago, so I was just going by memory, so.
I'm reading the one from Odessa. The
That's because got it covered, but I just want more.
Moore's was an ad.
Yeah.
I guess I'd make a motion to approve the low bid for Odessa Mechanical.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well. We have a few minutes before we can get Jerry started. Do you want to give your
Sure.
2 cents worth, Adam?
Yeah, did some plowing this weekend. A little bit on Saturday, a little bit more on Sunday. Looks like we got a cold week ahead of us. Without much snow coming, hopefully warm up. later in the week. And maybe get back out to working on trees and stuff like that. So, office, we're working on plans for brand new paving and stuff like that. Not a lot else going on right now, so.
You have a list of roads that you're gonna work on this summer?
In terms of maintenance or in terms of construction?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I am working on our. On the 5-year plan, which will have a problem list, but then we get some. You know, in-house projects and things like that, but.
It was easy as a mayor, because he's okay, now's the time to start talking about what we're gonna do for streets, so
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, every April 15th, we have to submit a 5-year plan to the DOT. So. We'll probably get together after budget season and I'll go through that and, you know, any chance for. Input or questions, be a good time for it then, so. Yeah, so just follow up from last week, do you guys have any more questions about my budget or anything wasn't clear or just? I know you guys have more hearings and all, like, so.
Yes, we do.
No,
Okay,
nothing yet.
okay.
We know where you live.
You can find me, so. That's fair, that's fair.
Even in the middle of the night.
I get some calls in the middle of the night. Usually it's from people that. Aren't crazy, every once in a while, I'll have a person knocking on my door, so. Anyway. It happens.
Welcome to the small community.
Yeah. Well, anything else or any questions for me here?
They still working on the northern project with the cold weather before.
Should have talked about that. Last week, they got that bridge, taken down. They're taking the concrete from the deck and using that as a crossing. Talked to Mike and then they said the H piles are starting to arrive. So potentially this week, beginning of next week, they'll drive in some of those piles. It's gonna get warm enough, they've gone enough frost on the ground right now to make it too bad.
No.
Plus, if you're dropping enough, it's gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Right through it, you know. So, yeah, I don't know, I'm optimistic that maybe get piles done next week and. After that, we'll probably start to farming up for piers and. Again, you know, I don't know, I'm still telling them. Late springs, cause. I don't want anybody to get all angry if it's a week. Behind or anything like that, so.
Like next week's gonna get money fast.
Yeah, this last Thursday, the guys and I went to the federal aid training seminar up in Cedar Rapids. As you know, for the past few years, we've been operating under a swap scenario where the federal aid comes from the feds. Goes to the DOT and it used to then be distributed to us. Well, for the past 3, 4, 5 years, the DOT kept all the federal money and gave us state money in exchange. So that made all of our projects easier to do. So, but now there's so much federal money coming down that they can't swap it. So now our projects are going back to federal projects, at least our STVG and the bridge funds and things like that are going back to federal. So that means, rather than taking a year to get something, you know, get it surveyed and designed and get the plans in 6 months ahead of time, you have to have them a year ahead of time because there's more environmental regulations and everything is going back to Bacon Davis wages and Buy American provisions and all these federal rules now that frankly, since I've been here, we haven't had very many true federal jobs, other than that trail and the bridge here, so. You know, we had to go back and get retrained, and this is the way we're gonna handle it now and all that, so it was. Very exciting, very exciting, very exciting, so.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of dumb stuff. Some of it's good, but a lot of it's just federal paperwork and. All that, and this new, you know, if you replace a bridge with a culvert, you gotta do stream bank or credits and stuff like that, so.
What's that mean on, what do you think that means on a total project? If we did a project, would it double?
No, it wouldn't double, it would. Definitely increase up front, it would definitely increase our time and their effort, because you get a lot more paperwork to do. Bacon Davis wages. You know, with the labor market as it is right now, I think a lot of you are probably making that amount already just because of that, but. Yeah, you know, I'm saying this adds that 10% at least, you know, in terms of what the bid is, but.
You know, that means more of our states, interstate will have fence around it, right? Interchange.
I don't know anything about those guys.
That's federal,
That's to
Grandview
Yeah,
is a federal interchange, that's why it's fenced.
right, and that's why they had the spacing from 92
Turnouts.
crossing south, and that's why the waffle is so.
And
so
signage,
difficult.
couldn't put signage on there because it's
Yeah.
federal rule.
So. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's. Free money out there that we know. None of it's free, all it comes with extra cost.
Yeah.
And
A lot of strings attached.
that and inflation, you know, we're all busy to begin with, and then you add in a bunch of money and. I talked to one of our neighboring engineers, and he's on this committee to figure out how to. You know, there's some grant money coming down, and it takes years for it to trickle down because they have to make the rules and all that, so hopefully they'll. At some point they'll say, hey, here's some grants that actually pertain to us, right? Because there's grants out there for electric vehicles and all this other stuff. Or, you know, a bus terminal and stuff like that don't apply to us, but eventually there is something that'll trickle down to us. And they're working on the rules of how to do all that, so. Anyway, we're. Trying to be informed, but
More policies and procedures.
yes, exactly, so. But other than that, I don't know a lot, so. Alright.
You know, we'll watch out here without tar feathering you this week.
Always next week, right?
Keep you warm.
Yeah, we grabbed my old coat, and it's not very warm, it's really cold outside.
You might want to grab a different.
I think so too. Oh, right, here. Amazon.
Yeah, we go to look at that, a line of on the follow. Thank you.
Sounds good, thanks.
Well, we're a little early, Jerry, but let's get started. Yeah, you get.
Jerry, you met Sean.
No,
I haven't. I'm sure. Nice to meet you.
Same. Our group benefits partners insurance agent.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll just give you a little bit of a rundown, so our history, so, yeah, we were. Group benefit partners, we just last year partnered with the Shirt Partners, they're a big national company with a real strong presence in Iowa, so. The name's now Shirt Partners, but same team, we're down in Fort Madison, we've got. Our legacy group benefit partner offices, we had 30 some employees across 6 locations in Iowa. So the same team, Sandy gets to work with Michelle, probably the sweetest person in the state.
Yeah.
So.
You ever have a bad day?
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, so that, and then, so the other thing we have access to, that's exclusive to our agency is a pool with ISAC. So our health insurance 2 years ago moved into ISAC's pool, with Wellmark, so now we're part of, now 30 counties, so we'll talk about some of that stuff. We'll talk about kind of how that pool has changed and how they rate that. And then we'll show a little bit on the partial self-fund. So what you'll see we do, Sean, is we buy a really high deductible and out-of-pocket max from Blue Cross to save premium, right? You talked about rolling the dice and going uninsured. We're not doing that. But we are buying a more catastrophic plan. And then we're taking some of that savings to self-insure and buy that down to a really generous deductible and out-of-pocket for employees.
Okay.
And we're just gambling, right? That we save more in premium than we pay out in claims. And it's been, ooh, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, many years we worked together. So when we started, we were a little unhealthy. So from the previous, so our Walmart rates were going up, but they also, the prior agent was pretty aggressive on that partial. So it was hemorrhaging money and upside down. And you'll see the really good news is now that reserve has really done well. And COVID helped us because COVID delayed a lot of the, not preventative, but like replacing needs. You just couldn't do it. Elective was the term I'm looking for, right? So, you get a knee redone, that's gonna cost us on our partial because it's gonna hit their out of pocket and we're buying that down. So as those got delayed, you'll see the last 2 years have been really healthy for our side fund, which is awesome. Okay, all right. Go ahead and interrupt. I know these guys a little bit from some years, so I'm kind of informal, so let's go ahead and ask.
I like it that way.
So the first page here just shows you the ISAC program. So you'll see at the bottom, the counties that are part of it. It says 28, they're actually up to 30 now. So that's kind of the map there. The next page is going to show, they switched for a new EAP, it stands for Employees Assistance Program. So this is something that this year we'll make a better effort of communicating to employees. So we put together a little handbook. We'll add this program to it. So ISAC pays for it, so it doesn't cost you guys anything. And it gives people an outlet, as they're going through stress. And again, with COVID, a lot of people had increased financial and just stress in general. So this is the way they can call and get some help at no cost. Through the EAP program. So we'll put some of that in the handbook. Next page, this kind of shows how they rate renewals within the ISAC plan. So this is the fully insured plan through Walmart. It's actually a self-funded plan through Walmart, but this is our first year of seeing this because the first year we're so new, they don't count our claims at all because it's immature and they just wait it. So this is our first year. You'll see with our actual loss ratios included at the top of the page here. Oh, did I click the page? Oh, it's got the wellness. Sorry, let's back up to the wellness. This is a bigger deal too. Sorry, my packet was out of order. So let's go back to this wellness page here. So the wellness program, this is again something ISAC administers and funds. They want us as a pool to be as healthy as possible, right? To keep our overall costs down. So they put some money behind it. The requirement, and we have not got off the ground yet. We got close, but it takes time and a commitment. So you have to form a wellness committee. We've talked about it. One supervisor has to be on it. And then they highly encourage as many departments as possible. So if you can get the sheriff, the roads, health department, one like that would be a real solid group of 4 because you'd have someone that could in theory touch
We
a
do
lot
have
of
one.
the folks. You do have a committee set.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
So,
met last year.
so then that would be something I'll let ISAC know to reach back out again, because if you can start ramping that up, the first thing you'll see is they give you $20 a contract. We have about 75 people on the plan. So you're gonna get about $1,500 of money that you can spend. They have a list and it's gotta be wellness type related, but you can use that money to kind of get the program off the ground. And then you'll see if people get a physical, their free physical and turn in the form, they can give you up to 4 points off your renewal. So if you get the max is 80%, that'd be, to be honest, a pretty lofty goal year 1. But if you can at least get half the people to do that exam, you'll get a point off your renewal.
And I know Selena's been in touch with Molly.
Oh, good, yeah, good. The other thing is there's an online assessment where you answer a question, related to your health to give you kind of gauge and give you some advice. If 60% or more of people do that, that's another point. So you can get up to 5 points off your renewal. I mean, that's a significant. I mean, it's a big, you gotta really participate to get it, but that's a meaningful number, right? I mean, there's a lot of times I come in, like this year's 8%. Well, we could take more than half of it off if we hit these numbers.
And I tried to get into it on that 2 weeks ago, and it would not allow me to get into that site. It said site was not available.
Me too.
It might be in the closed period, but I will ask.
Okay.
Like that's why I know enough to be dangerous, but ISAC runs this. This isn't a assured partners program. It's an
So I
ISAC.
know we've tried to get onto it. It's not let
Yeah.
us get into it, so.
Yep, we'll talk to them and see. Then the bottom is, so they have some, a carrot to help your renewal costs, but then they have also incentives for employees. So if they do that free physical, they get $75 back that comes from the accident plan from Reliance Standard that ISAC pays for everyone. So everyone has the base level accident. So they get $75 to do that physical as a way to kind of dangle the carrot, right, to get them to do it. If they do that online assessment, they get $25. And then now they're actually connecting to, they'll give you access where you get like a Fitbit or some type of smartwatch, or if you already have one, if you link it in, they'll give you $5 to connect it. And then they give you up to $1 a day if you walk your 10,000 steps. So you can earn up to $242. And then since they have that new care bridge is the new AAP, if you go on and register and get set up with that, they'll give you $5 to try to encourage people to go there. So it's a lot, but if you try to take baby steps, and I'll let them know the committees
Yes.
want to talk more so they can start to re-engage you guys a little bit.
I think our first meeting was August of last year, I think, because we just got into it and
Yep.
then that program started, we started a committee right away. Selena's taking, she's.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Real good news. I'll let them know that we had this meeting and you guys are ready to get engaged there. And awesome. Okay. So then after the wellness, there's the EAP we talked about. Then let's get to our renewal. Sorry, I didn't want to skip that wellness. That's too big of a deal. So at the top left, that's our first year claim. So we ran at a 91% loss ratio, and you see it's a 3-year average. So how they rate us is by a 3-year block. So none of this impacts us this year, next year, but then the following year, that's when our experience will start going in. And why is if I had to bet, I bet you this loss ratio, when we look at our 10 years, it's going to be like that. I mean, we're too small, right? You're going to have a bad year and you're going to have really good years. So by taking a 3-year average, you don't get killed when you're really bad, and it just tries to even out for you. So you'll see our 3-year average is a 0.91%. If we look over, when they join the pool, we started off at that level 2 discount. So we get 10% off the overall rate. Right now, super early, right? We still have 2 more years, but at 0.91, it would drop us barely into the 5%. So we would lose 5% discount. We're still getting a discount, but we're going to lose 5% if we track this way. Again, I wouldn't get super worked up about it because it's only year 1 and we're too small. Like we're only 75 lives.
Okay, now if we extend, because we're looking at adding some employees with the SRO officer, and that was one thing. If we go over 100, does that change anything in our group? Okay, I wanted to ask you.
50 is the big deal. That's when a lot of those Obamacare ACA rules start kicking in.
Okay.
So to go from there, especially where you are with ISAC, with Wellmark, it would change. If we were standalone, it would change our rating structure a little bit and how they look at us.
But it does not.
It will not. This will be the same. Yep.
Thank you.
Same thing. Hire healthy people. No, I'm just kidding. The other thing you'll see on these adjustments is you can only change 1 level a year. So even if we tank, right, we'll still be a negative discount. So we're in a really good spot from a starting standpoint, because the best rate's only 1 level up anyway. So we can get the best, and it'll take us a while to get to the worst. The second adjustment that they come into play is if you have stop loss claims or large claims. So this would be They buy reassurance at 200,000 a person, so we didn't have anyone with claims over that. That's good for the plan, good for your people, good all around, so you'll see that stays at zero. Which keeps us in, we started in the best band, and we stay there so far. So overall, pretty good news. I mean, I'm not super discouraged by, you'll see 0.9 is the next one, and we're at 0.91 to stay even and neutral at a discount, so we're not, it's good news.
The other question I had on this rate adjustment key was we've had other communities like cities ask if they could join insurances. Is that something that with ISAC now, has that ever changed?
They're still county only. I don't know if they'd ever open up to cities. They're still counties only. Counties are a little bit bigger. Some of those cities get pretty small.
Yeah.
And you just have so little premium that can get some of those pools in trouble that are taking those small cities, because they get someone that gets sick, it can really.
And that's what we're seeing in because all of our communities except one are declining, and they're getting smaller and they only have 1 or 2 employees.
Yeah.
They pay high rates. I didn't know if that was ever sort of or not. Okay.
Not in ISAC. I can't say forever, but right now they're pretty happy to be county only, keeps the same risk. You don't have the town hot, like there's just different risks too.
Okay.
That if we bleed cities in, they don't want to hurt the 30 people that are already part of that.
Gotcha.
Pool, you know, I mean, they're
Makes sense.
protecting you as well.
I didn't know if they had anything like a population of 500 and down or 700 and
Not
down.
only counties right now. Now they take any county. We never, I shouldn't say never, but I'd be blown away if we ever had the big counties. They're good enough to just self-fund.
Right.
Kind of play their own game. But I know he's added 2 or 3 counties last year, and there's more and more counties keep asking them.
That's
I
where
think the pool, there's other pools you can get into. This
is
is really good. It's counties only, it's self-funded. I mean, they're doing a lot of things that some of those other pools can't do. So then at the bottom is kind of our discount. Again, you're gonna see it the same, that's 0.875. So we're getting 12.5 points off the base rate, which is awesome. Any questions here? Again, this will mean more in the next year or two when it starts coming into play. So then this next sheet, am I on the right? Let me make sure I'm over it again. Yep, okay, so this is the plans. So the only change on the plan you'll see is, and this is not on what employees have, this is the Wellmark piece, right? So you see that deductible is real high, but you look at specialty meds. So today it's a $45 copay, which to be honest is really, really low. It's switching to being a tiered. So again, this is only for specialty meds, and you'll see there's now going to be a $45, $75, and $150 copay. Why they're doing that is because clearly specialty meds is a hot topic out there, and they're coming out with more like biosimilars and different types of specialty meds. Some of them are coming out of patent. So they want, instead of just being 45, now that there's 2 similar of the same specialty, we want to tier it. And these are big buck drugs. So if we can steer people to the specialty med that is the best value, it's a good thing. So I'd be surprised if anyone's on something really expensive, because we don't have any large claims. So this, I don't think is gonna, I don't know for sure, but I don't think this is gonna impact very many people. The other nice thing with this is a lot of times those specialty drugs have copay assistance, like if you see at the commercial at the end. So even though their copay is going up, there's a real good chance the pharmaceutical company is going to be paying that copay, because they probably have copay assistance on the drug they're on. That's just part of the game. So overall plan, I don't think there's anything employees are going to have concerns about. And then you'll see their cost just over 8%. So then,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, sure.
And maybe Sandy can answer this too. So we have a $5,000 deductible.
That's the actual insurance.
Right.
The next page you'll show, we buy that down to $750 for employees.
Okay.
So employees actually have a $750 deductible and a $1,500 out of pocket
Got
instead of.
But
Okay,
you have Wellmark numbers, and then you have our partial self-paid numbers that
Okay.
are what we actually pay.
got it.
Yeah, the cards are kind of misleading to medical.
They're gonna show the higher deductible.
They show the 5,000.
Because that's the only insurance, that's the only actual
Mhm.
insurance that's there, yes.
The number of employees on a single family.
Okay.
So we buy that down and it happens automatic. So on co-pays, it doesn't happen. It's only deductible. So like
So you don't have to
MRIs, hospital
You don't have to
stays.
fill out paperwork.
And
or
you don't do
reimburse.
anything, so
Okay.
Wellmark will process the claim, and then they send it to a company in Decorah called Midwest Group Benefits. And they process, and then they pay the hospital on your
Okay,
behalf.
got it.
It's worked pretty slick, and we've done it so long that the employees that it's happened to get it, and if it's new employees, we just encourage them, call us.
All right.
So, because if you call Wellmark, they're gonna just keep telling you, you have $5,000, because they don't know what we're doing.
So you don't wanna pay anything until you get that second,
Yes.
So they threaten your life.
no, but you get the second.
So when they
statement.
pulling up and taking your car away.
Yeah. The nice thing is hospitals, like if you've had a hospital stay, it takes them forever to send it.
Yeah.
out. I mean, so, yeah.
They're
unless
getting faster.
They're getting faster. It still usually works out to be pretty slick. So then we need to say, okay, what are we budgeting to spend, right, for this buy down piece? So if you look here on the left-hand side, that's if every single person maxed out, how much it would cost the county. So $711,000 would be if every single belly button completed. I mean, that's. We went through COVID and it didn't, so I don't know what would happen for that to take place, but that's what we'd have to pay. And then we show 3 different buckets, 20%, 25, and 30% utilization. 25 is what we've used historically, and fairly common. So if we do that, we're gonna say we're gonna spend 177,000 and change on claims. So we spend 177,000 on claims, that 5,850, that's what goes to MGB to do all the admin. So you'll see that's consistent across the board because you're gonna pay them the same no matter what to get to your total cost. Now, the really good thing these last 2 years, if you look here, the last 2 years, so in 2021, we spent 131,000 in claims. This year, if I annualize it, we're short a few months, right? But if we just annualize our spend so far, we'd be at 133. So we've been budgeting around 177, and the last 2 years, we've only spent 133. Right? So that's good. So then the next page. This shows that reserve balance. So at the top, that's how much we have sitting in there, that 500 and change. So we have that in the reserve to pay the claims, to pay the fees. So of that reserve balance, the next fee is what would go to Wellmark, or no, what we would collect in premium, sorry, at a different increase. So we're showing if you want to increase your rate 6%, what it would do, 8%, and then 10%. So we would collect that premium, then we'd have to pay ISAC for the Wellmark stuff, the 1.3 million, so that comes out of it. Which leaves what's left for the partial. Then we're doing, in this example, we're showing if we kept doing the 25% budget, which knock on wood has been healthy for us. So then you take the 177 out, then you take that fee to MGB. And if we took an 8% increase, which is what ISAC's giving us, if we spent the 177, which we haven't, we would pad the reserve another $15,000 if you're following kind of what I'm showing. So this is the years you can say, okay, is 8%, are we okay with it? Then we can just keep doing what we're doing and keep paddling. If we get a year where, let's say, ISAC was giving us a bad, year, well, now we can dip into some of our reserves. Hopefully for that 1 year to offset it. You see what I'm, so it's like, we've got some stuff here that's working well. It's just when do you want to deploy some of that to offset a renewal, if that makes sense. And we can do that in a couple ways. You could say, Jerry, change that partial from 25 to 20. And I could lower that down and show you what it looks like, or you can say, let's do 6%, and say we're gonna go in the whole 12,000, but if we run like we have, we won't really go in the hole because we're not gonna spend, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to look at this. But that's. So my recommendation would be not to do option 3. I mean, you're not in a spot where we're in trouble. I would say you either do 2, 1, or if you wanted me to change the partial to 20%, I could show you 8% at a 20% spend.
Do you have any back history on actual claim totals?
We have the last 2 years here.
That's very far back.
I could go back farther. The challenge of going back farther is our plans weren't as bad with Walmart. So your claims are gonna be lower, but the risks.
What's the previous year?
of 2020,
Yeah.
2021 was 131.
What's 2020?
I'd have to go back and look it up, but you're gonna be skewed a little bit, because the number's gonna be lower anyways, but we had less. We were taking less risk, if that makes sense, so. That's why if we go back too far, the
I
number's
understand
gonna
what
be
you're saying.
smaller, but it's not. An accurate comparison, I would mislead you if I did that, to be honest with you.
What would the number be if we did 20% utilization on option one?
I can resend this page. I'll send it to Sandy to get it to you guys with 20% expense for all three, 6, 8, option 1, 2, and
I'm
3.
just curious what it would, I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
could probably do the calculation here. real
It would
quick.
lower it overall. Lower it $30,000.
So you'd be in the black 20 grand ish,
Yes,
if you did option one with
yes,
20%.
and option one,
Follow what I'm,
option one just would give you less buck, you
Right.
know,
right,
from where we've been.
you follow what I'm, my logic?
Now, if you did 20% option one, you'd be taking your max play this year, you know, you're not
I know,
carrying over anything for the next year. I mean, who knows what next year will bring? Because again, 8% is higher than what we've seen, but not what, I mean, there was many years we were mid-teens, high, I mean, we had some raw
But even at
years.
option one, as he has it. We haven't really ever been at 177.
Right.
right, that's what I was saying,
Right,
we were at the 20% utilization, that's 142. And we're not even at that, unless you have a really bad year,
right,
you wouldn't be necessarily. The reserve and year-end reserve wouldn't be a -12, it would be a positive.
right. Like, just like, even if you did option one this year, there's a real good chance we would still be positive, because this is banking on us paying 177.
Right,
in claims,
exactly.
Which
So it's
I don't have wood to
We
keep
haven't
knocking
been,
on, but
right.
you have it, correct. Correct,
And I put the figures in the 6%. I figured that's what
6%. So what I can do is, I mean, we could just do option one here. Or I could send you, what would option two even be? Well, it's 8%, but yeah, I could say in option one, if we dropped it down, you would say, instead of going down 12%. What did I say, was there $40,000?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're still positive.
Right,
So if you budgeted 6%, I would be really comfortable. If you want to do option one, you're not gonna be
in the hole.
in the hole.
I think it's worth.
I mean, you could have a 12% uptick in claims and still be breaking,
Still be
you know.
covered, yeah.
You got that in the budget 6.
So you want to do option
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay, I would be perfectly comfortable. We're in a way better spot than we were years ago. And now we should be more stable with ISAC as well, Mark, instead of just
Right.
us. The chances of us getting hit with that high teen increase, especially while we're getting these discounts for the next 2 years, is
Yeah.
gonna be. It'd be like the first time in ISAC's history that happened. I could.
We took that 2 years of data together also too, so.
With our good discounts.
Yes, yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's the safest route to go.
I agree. I would be perfectly comfortable. if you wanted to do that. Cool.
And it puts the minimal cost to the families and the singles.
Right, because you guys do a split of, I think it's 85-15 or 85-15. I think it is. Which I like, because then they, you know, they agree that we.
Oh, and both single and family, the same way?
Yeah.
Yes.
515?
Yes, yeah. So they'll see a pretty minimal increase
Yeah,
on their end,
well, 793 to 841 and 1783 to 18.
and they're only paying 15% of that. increase.
$100 for the family.
Yeah. Overall, but then they only pay 15%, so they're paying $15 a month more for a band for the.
So that would be,
Yeah.
option, okay.
Okay.
Option one.
The rest of the packet just shows alternative plan designs, like mainly if we want to go to Iowa only, I don't think we need to go there. If people need Mayo at the pricing, we're getting good renewals, but that would be what that is. The next page shows the accident plan, so this is the accident plan, ISAC pays for the base. So everyone that's on the health insurance gets that one for free, and then a fair amount of people bought the better accident plan too. And then the last piece in here, or second to last, there's a critical illness plan that we have with Reliance. So like if someone gets a heart attack, or cancer or stroke, this would pay them some cash. There's a fair amount of people that take that. Then I have the vision renewal in here with IMED. Our vision rates are really, really low. They locked it in for 4 years in 2020, so which is another crazy thing that you don't see very often. So our vision will be locked in. The dental and the life insurance with principal, we don't get that this far in advance. So I don't know what that is yet. Principal kind of pools that. So worst case, I would say that would probably be a 4 or 5% increase on dental. Now, again, the dental premium is so small. So when you say 5% medical, you freak out. I mean, it's usually pretty small. If it's something crazy like that, we'll bid the dental and find another player. But I usually just work with Sandy directly. If you guys are okay with it, we get that. And we'll play with that dental piece. Here soon. We're just not big enough to get the renewal that early. ISAC gets it to us way early because now we're part of this huge. In the past, I had to put on a crystal ball, right, and try to guess your renewal this morning, which I love doing. Yeah, like, and I always have a big asterisk, unless something happens here in the next few months, then. So yeah, the health is locked in now. I mean, these are, it's not a guess anymore. This is our, which is nice to know going into budget that you have a firm number instead of me.
Because 2 years ago, we didn't have a reserve like that at all. I mean,
No, really,
we was right on the edge.
yeah, you were going the
So
wrong
COVID
direction.
kind of,
COVID helped you, us, and cooperating with employees of realigning kind of how we price it, helped a lot. Which is good, because now we can do things like we just did.
Right.
And pick an 8 to a 6 and be comfortable about it, right?
yeah.
That and being part of ISAC and having that stability is a big deal too, because if we 91% loss ratio, they want us at 85. So our Wellmark renewal would not have been any better. If we were by ourselves. I mean. Not like we're getting. Any question?
No, and I think that's why that accident, that supplementary accident plan that we have would help somebody in a catastrophic. So it's something, it's education on it. The only thing bad about the accident is you gotta be you gotta take care of it yourself.
Yeah, it's a little bit, you gotta get more detail from the hospital because you can't just show them the claim, you have to have the notes that say it was a result of an accident. Yep. So you can't just go get an x-ray, it has to be an x-ray as a result of an accident, so you gotta get the doctor's notes. Which I can't blame the carrier, then they have to prove,
Yeah.
It's just extra, there's some extra hoops.
No, great news this year.
And then we'll work with Sandy again to update the handbook, we'll do the meeting, just like always.
Now, when's the chance for employees? What's that window? Is it, it's usually every January they have a chance?
So this is July, so June, we'll
June?
do all this
Okay.
early June.
Okay.
Maybe even May. We'll talk with Selena and them with payroll, because we like to have everyone's decisions in time to hit that first payroll deduction. So July 1st, it can all roll smooth for people's paychecks.
And those that don't want to change, they don't have to sign anything and just continue.
Historically, that's what we've done. We've told people, if you don't want to do anything, because we use Employee Navigator, which is an online enrollment site. So we'll just have it all loaded and we'll just say, if you don't want to do anything, it'll roll over. If you want to make a change, some of them, just like road, I'll sit there and do it for them.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think most people either have it down or they're calling on this. Yeah, so I'll sit there and help them.
And we did that last year. We had a open enrollment. You had here, you guys was changing them, right? And
Yep.
Everybody was deciding
Yep.
to do, so worked out perfect.
We've done that for several years too. Yeah. So a lot of employees trust, they trust me. I've helped, me or the office have helped them over the years. So it's a good relationship with your employees too, which is good because then they trust what you guys are doing.
A lot of it, when it works smoothly, that's when you get the trust.
Yeah, or help somebody out of a
Yeah.
sticky situation, you know, that word spreads fast.
Yeah.
It's confusing for people and it's a lot of money and it's emotional if you're going through a health scare. I mean, there's a lot of crappiness with it, so if we
Yeah.
can make it easier, people like that.
And you see the map, Sean, in front, that shows all the green where,
I tried to sign up for the step challenge and couldn't get on for whatever reason and.
and say with us.
I'll send a note to them and they'll reach out and, because they were asking me, hey, you know,
Yeah.
how's it going? I said, well, I'm gonna have the meeting with the supervisors. That
Yeah.
makes the most sense to wait till I can get to talk to you guys, so. I'll get that
Yeah,
rolling.
that'd be
I
good.
just apologize. That's
And
not our deal.
Yeah, that's
Step
fine.
on
I mean, we got
your toes.
people here wanting
Yeah.
to sign up and we can't get signed
Yeah,
up.
That's a
So,
benefit to the county.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and they want you to do it too. I mean, they want you to be healthy too,
Right,
so
absolutely.
they'll be engaged.
No goodness.
And if not, let Sandy know to let me
Okay.
know, and I can keep working with you guys.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
All right, I'm gonna sneak out and know if you guys are all good.
Good, good to see you, Jerry.
You have it, digital, Jerry?
I do.
If you want, just email it to me and then I can forward it to them.
Oh, thank you. That's fine. If you're okay with it, I just wanna make sure I didn't have. I hate Louisa. No, I'm teasing. You guys, I can only say that. You just wanna.
Couldn't believe that, right on the front page. I hate.
No, you guys know I love working with you guys. So I didn't give you up when you went to ISAC. I had to still work with them, no, I can't let you guys take over for me.
No, it worked out well.
Awesome. All right, everybody, thank you.
Thank you. See you in May or June, whenever.
Yeah, absolutely. Do this, take care, show again. Thanks, good to meet you.
Yeah, good to
Thank
see
you
you.
guys. Thanks. Amy.
Okay.
What?
So usually,
Oh. See, I've always been with Blue Cross. He's second or third agent. And when we was preparing for Obamacare and getting 19%
I can send you one.
when I started.
Yeah.
Health insurance.
Is it on the website?
On point to. That's you give the, what you want to give them. Give it.
Thanks.
Almost a scam, but you gotta have it.
Oh,
Any all insurance is like that.
Make sure that everything is.
Really? It's something that you probably will never get money back, but
Everybody.
as you get something happen, you have to write down, you know.
A small group office. Years ago, we had employees getting ready to retire and we put in knees and hips and
Oh,
that fund went to heck.
Yeah, we had 2 cancer 1 year.
yeah.
Where's the reserve? 500, no, where is it? Oh, they, we don't have it here. They have it in their. Way I understand it is in their,
Funding account. or
yeah,
whatever.
funding account.
You know,
Should less.
Self-funded area.
So is it accruing anything to that reserve? Or just, good question.
No.
$500,000. Well, like right now, you know, you do 3, almost 4% for short term, it's pretty good. Chunk of change.
Yeah, that. Area has changed drastically in the last 6 months.
That's a good question.
Yep, great question.
They're probably getting the 3%.
Where is our reserve held at? For that insurance?
It's in the insurance fund, like when we take money and put into flex and then we put it back into the insurance fund, that's that money.
Is it,
That
we get anything off of that, having that?
you would have to ask Vicky how it's invested or if it's
Okay.
invested or.
Oh, I stuck you right now. That's a good question.
So it's in our control.
It's in our control. or right now. You
Just
gotta
up
look
back
at
and forth. Yeah, I was gonna say, it might be right.
I'll see about the interest.
Shouldn't I be in that report?
Well,
Or semi.
Somewhere in those 42 pages of numbers, probably.
this is a little easier.
You wanna?
Yeah.
stand in store?
Light reading.
We have monies that, we have some that's only paying 0.03 because it's locked in.
Yeah.
So we got some now, it's 3.6, I think is the highest we have. In interest, so.
I don't know if she was in the office today or not.
She's not on here, usually she's on here. She's.
Flex spending,
That sounds right. What's the total?
Well, no, flex is different.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it ain't big enough.
That'd be like, yeah.
That's what
That's,
we pay into to cover our pharmacy and doctor and like the
Hi,
extra.
this is Brad. Is Vicky happen to be in? Thank you. Hello, good morning. How you doing?
I'm okay, how are you?
Good. Hey, we had a question. Randy brought up a question, Randy Slutz, about our ending reserve balance. He couldn't answer that. Is that in our control, your control? And is there interest on that account? On the insurance, on the ending reserve balance that we have? That we have 575,000
I
and
think it's
22.
8,500.
If it's, art form,
And how long do you lock that in for? Is that something 6 months? 14 months, nice.
We're looking for is their funds that we're using, not like it's excess fund, it's working fund. So we cannot.
Lock it in for. So 14 months is long as it by law.
That's
Mhm.
as long as that works. And, but if they have a 14-month special that is extraordinarily more interesting, I would put it.
Okay. Okay. Randy, you got any other questions on it? It's 14 months. Did you catch all that? It's an interest bearing. And it's under our control.
And if he has any other questions, he's more than welcome to stop over and I can show him anything he wants to see.
Okay, I'll tell him that. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
I appreciate it. Bye now.
Now, it was more of a, when he explained it, to me, it was like they had the money.
right, with his wording.
And so that cleared.
Well, she said that too, that the longest that we can go on something that we're using all the time is 14 months. And it's at our control that we can go through it. We have other funds that we can borrow to pay it back. And then when it comes up to where it's on, we pay
Then we
penalties.
can get the money quickly enough.
And she thought it was like 165 right now, so.
You're still getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And he called me to get that balance number, so. I know we have it.
That's right here.
About it.
What's it under?
Just let it go. It's under health insurance fund.
Yeah.
The very bottom of it.
It's like 8,500, I think. I mean, it's a fund number, like general basic 001.
There you go.
And I think-
8,500. I was thinking. How can it be 8,500 when it's 500? You're talking about numbers. Gotcha. I was thinking total amount.
Yeah, he's talking codes of what columns and.
I'm with her. I wasn't for a long time, when he kept saying 8,500, I said, this don't make sense. Somebody made a heck of a mistake on their balance sheet.
And in the last month, there was 11,000 drawn out of that account.
Because that's what we paid,
Yeah.
everything through.
Right. There we go.
So when we do a, like we just did a special claim for the 100 and some thousand. Now, does any of that come back into that to reprocess that claim, anything with that claim under?
Everybody's payroll. And the portion, it all goes into that, and then it gets.
And it's
pulled
getting
out.
distributed out. That's what I was thinking. I just want to make sure that it's in there. So that's a go-to on everything.
For the insurance.
So every employee's deductible goes.
Doesn't have a fund. It's like 3 different account numbers out of that fund. That get. Like the admin fee comes out of one number, the premium come out of another number, and then like. The individual claims come out of a third number, but they're all out of 8,500.
Because I know on our cards confuse the hospitals. When they say you got a $5,000 deductible, they panic. They don't think they're gonna get their money at 750, you know, so it's hard to explain to them. So we really ought to have a card that shows what the actual, because I was just looking at our card does show. Without the county's money, and they actually show the 5,000. But our old cards on this just show the copays without the deductible.
Yeah, but Walmart is gonna show what is on their books.
Right.
They're not gonna show what.
But we ought to have
So
a
we-
card
A
to show.
county card.
Yes.
Yeah, is,
Yeah, that's something. that-
yeah, I got one the other day.
Oh, I was gonna sell it to you for $10,000.
But it confuses the hospitals.
Well, we used to have 3 cards, one for
Dental.
our dental. And it showed the self-insured part.
Yep.
And another.
But we just don't get the self-insured card, and I think that would be better to have for employees, because I know any hospital that gets that card.
Oh, well, that's kind of,
They
Hopefully we're
they
not
want
doing
money
it.
down.
that's hopefully we're not doing this for nothing, well. Well, are we done
Yeah.
picking on health insurance for the day? Well, for a while, we'll pick on coal now.
Ready for me?
Yeah,
All right. I have some annual reports from last year for each of you.
good.
Give you kind of an update on what we've been up to.
Thank you.
Jim will have one for you at the end. Okay, great. All right. I think last year it was really a continuation of some of the foundations that we built in my first year in this role. Did a lot more business assistance, working with a lot of our small businesses here in Louisa County. Playgrounds were a pretty big project that we did in Columbus Junction. And I've also seen interest from Let's to work on some of those for Fredonia. And then I've also talked to Brett Schaefer a little bit about some of the projects here in Wapello. I guess our big extension program project that we did last year was the rural housing needs assessment that we did in Columbus Junction and Wapello. Both of those processes have now wrapped up, and we are now in the phase where we have housing committees who are actively working on the action plan that we developed through that process. So we actually have a meeting this Friday here for Wapello going on for that. So some of the things we're working on are working with the city on some of the website and getting let's see, like getting some of like the county's resources, I guess some things like Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commissions, a Great Rehab and Trust Fund on there, Habitat for Humanity programs, all the things that we can help to do some revitalization projects on houses, as well as getting developer resources on there. Let's see, that's one part of the committee. The other part of the committee is identifying target neighborhoods to start working on development projects or where to focus our efforts here. Let's see. I guess as far as a few of the things that we have coming up, I guess as far as this upcoming year for Columbus Junction, in continuation of the rural hazardous assessment, one of the programs that we identified was the community visioning program, which is working on basically how walkable your community is, the look and feel of your community, that sort of thing. That was one of the things they wanted to work on. Let's see. As far as upcoming things we have going on, I will be attending Southeast Iowa Days coming up tomorrow, and let's see, tomorrow Wednesday. What's it? Yeah, tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. And I have a meeting with Governor Reynolds. So I also wanted to ask your input on if there is anything that you guys, as far as issues that you wanted me to bring to the table from Louisa County. So I'd be all ears to what those might be. This Saturday, we have a legislative forum hosted here in Wapello. Representative Taylor Collins and Senator Mark Lofgren will be here at Wapello City Hall at 11 a.m. to meet with residents to talk about some of the issues we have going on here in Iowa and getting some of our feedback from here in Louisa County. And I guess the last kind of event that we have coming up is March 16th at 6:30 at Let's, and it is the Iowa Private Well Stewardship Program. And that is a 2-class program for up to 30 different households in the county who are well users and learning about well safety. And then we're also partnering with Brian T to do well testing. And then after that, we come back together, look at their well test results, and then look at ways to say if they have nitrates, looking at some way to mediate those issues. So that is a program we have coming up. I know there is Let's in particular, they were interested in looking at some kind of solution for water. Just given the nature of the size of the community, how expensive those projects are. Looking into doing more well testing is definitely kind of a low-hanging fruit item to address that. So I guess there's quite a bit on this report, but what I did come here today is to request for some additional funding. We have, so since 2004, when LDG was started, we've received $12,000 from the county every single year, which has gone towards the salary of whoever's been in the position, our travel expenses. I mean, we operate on a pretty slim budget. It's pretty much covering salary and benefits. That's what it goes toward. You'll see some economic development organizations, they have money for land development and they get a lot of money. I realize we're not necessarily in that case here, but in order to keep up with inflation and ongoing costs, and be able to expand our services, I do think requesting $20,000 a year would be a fair adjustment, given that we've received $12,000 every single year since 2004. So I don't know, I threw a lot at you. You guys have questions, comments about any of the things talked about?
What's your board like of that?
So the board has not met
Okay.
in a while, to be honest with you. That has been one of the things I have ran into. The Wise Development Group board isn't necessarily a decision-making board, because ultimately all the decisions are made by the Extension Council. So it's been really a more,
We lost our voice.
yeah, it's so to me, like informal communication, keeping up with the board members has been really important. As far as getting ideas, and that is one of the things I have heard as a point for improvement, is to grow that board into some kind of advisory committee, given that there isn't much decision that can be made, but giving people and stakeholders throughout the county a voice to that these are projects that we need to be working on or things we need to focus on. So I think there is no shortage of people who, as you guys know, who will tell you things that need to be worked on here in the county.
So the extension council has more voice in this.
We have all the voice, we don't have.
Which is an elected group.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost 2 years ago when they switched over in Iowa State, extension took over, we lost basically our seat, so.
That sucks.
I will say though, you know,
I agree.
that is a downfall of that situation. But the person, so in my case, myself, they were able to put together definitely a better salary and better benefits and offering extension resources through it. So although you may have lost your official voice of making decisions, I do think overall it is a better step for the county of being able to offer more through that.
Yeah, the supplement helped, but I still miss the part having input on direction where the county goes. And that's where I feel that a little naked on, because you don't have that. We work off the pulse of the county residents. We hear this inputs, we like to see where we're heading to. We lost that directional arrow. We don't know where north is anymore, and the compass is all screwed up now. I feel. I just wish we could go back to more of a local input also too.
Yeah. How would you go about, given the where we're at right now with how the organization is structured, in order to ensure you guys have a voice and
Be part of that, the board that you have now.
Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily go back to the old board, but be
Yeah.
part of the new
Extension council.
Right.
'Cause
Now,
we do
Just
levy-
on this type of stuff. I don't want to be involved in the other stuff, but
Right, we do levy their. budget.
Absolutely.
yes.
But we have no, other than this is the only thing we have any
Yeah.
input on their budget.
Yeah, we used to have for our input. Give us a direction, and now we don't have that directional inputs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, given the nature of how that is set up, it doesn't really make sense to have a whole meeting with Robert's rule and go through all of that, but I do agree having, we're able to talk about some of the things that we're working on. Also hearing some of the things that you guys see is important to get that input. So, that, I guess that is one of the things I'd like to do this upcoming year, is kind of reestablish some kind of board, potentially grow it into, I know there's quite a few small business owners and things like that who have ideas that they would like to see going on, but I think also women who not getting too many cooks in the kitchen is also important as well.
Yeah, and my part is the growing need, when you go talk to Governor Reynolds, I found the same thing, is the growing need for housing, and with the DOT is opening up more funding opportunities for our communities that are gonna get hit by bypassing housing, businesses. I think it's at our forefront right now, because we're declining communities and declining businesses. Sure, businesses they're not growing.
I will say that as a region, Highway 61, that whole project is one of our 3 key items that we're going with to lobby on over there. Yeah, so.
And not only Lamion, we have to have impact. DOT has to do impact. They recognize after Bluegrass is now in their forum that anytime they're going around or through a community, there's impact. So they have to make sure that we put things in forward to keep the possible growth or opportunities open. So that's my biggest thing to Governor Reynolds, that we got to see for us. It's not that how fast can you get through a county? What can you do to help the county get through the traffic that's going around us?
And the loss of tax base.
It's huge. Gas tax. You know, if we don't have 6,700 cars going through Wapo each day, look what we're gonna lose in gas tax with the current. It's a lot. And so what are we gonna do to fill that void? So we're looking at planning, zoning, looking at possibly putting zoning restrictions in that we opportunity could grow in the area of the path of the highway.
Yeah.
But it all comes at a cost, and we just need some opportunities that we can, file for grants that we can explain our problems and. So that's,
I do think as a whole that, given the next, 5 to 6 years, they're gonna we're doing work through here. We're gonna see some changes in the community. Start having meetings on what are we gonna do to, I think this could be an opportunity if we play our cards right. So,
starting July, they're gonna start, buying opportunities to grow the highway. So in our area, they're already to a mile past Newport right now, purchase land and starting July. So it's gonna happen, and ready or not. And we're not ready.
Yeah.
But we're closer than what we was, but we're not ready. I mean, the city's annexed more land toward that way. That's a great opportunity, and we just got a lot to do in a short time. So.
Chris, Sean, do you guys have anything you'd like to have me talk to Governor Reynolds about?
See, there's a bill been introduced. The farmers are really complaining up Minneapolis where they're putting in, they're only giving them a 20-foot culvert to get off the,
Yeah.
well, a combine's 18-foot
But
wide
it's not
without the
wide enough.
heads. It ain't wide enough. I see Taylor has put something on it, I'd like to strongly. Well, I mean, agree with it, or it needs. It's a good idea to make them wider. And right now is the time to do it.
It's probably already in on that one,
The what?
culvert.
Well, it was just got introduced.
Yeah, but I mean, the culvert's probably in place. It looked like.
Oh, there's a few, yeah.
There's a lot of them already in place, so. but-
Farm equipment just always gets wider.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I've seen in the legislative updates that needs.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people talk to me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, housing, we need housing, we need housing funding somehow for counties, small counties and small communities. We need to get the doors opened up where we can give us an opportunity to file for that request to get it, but
Now, Brad,
for small communities.
were you at the Professional Developers of Iowa legislative meeting we had in Burlington a few months back?
No, I was on Zoom.
Okay.
On that call.
So one of the things that as a group that we are recommending is, so one of the biggest housing programs we have in Iowa for development assistance would be the workforce housing tax credits. A lot of those tax credits have been used in like the 11 most populous counties on greenfield projects, so lots that are, just ripe to put a house on. So what we recommended is removing the tax credits from those 11 most populous to be focused more on brownfield development as well as more rural counties in the state.
Yeah.
Which it's a developer is going to develop in those populous areas regardless, but if we can get some of this housing down here, would be nice.
We're under the misunderstanding that people's gonna come develop units here in our small community. We don't have that opportunity, but. Like Waffle Development, about 30 acres and trying to do 40 houses. We need to have funding instead of counting on TIFs and stuff to do that for infrastructure roads. You try to get people to stop by here and then if that happens, then we can go to other things to try to a group represent the city to help us grow and other communities also too.
So I know Louisa County used to have a pretty active Habitat for Humanity organization, and that has now been, and now that has been taken over by Iowa Valley out of Iowa City. I've actually been working with Scott Hawes, who's their executive director, on doing some projects here in Louisa County. Not just rehab projects, but actual development projects. So I know you're familiar with the Homes for Iowa, it's the prison built homes. And they've done some of those projects in the past throughout the region, but none in Louisa County that I know of. But they do own a few lots throughout the county that we've talked about a possibility of working with some of the communities with it.
They're 2 years out right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're taking orders for 2024 and they only have 3 openings left and it'll be in 2025.
Housing's it's not a tomorrow is gonna fix this.
And we need, for our area, we need places that have 30, 40, 50 units on one build, that's, I build, but I make a small dent what was needed, so we gotta be doing 30, 40, 50 houses a year instead of 10. It don't work that way. I mean, to grow our community, if we can, our favorite schools, we need something quicker.
Yeah.
So multifamily housing grants, stuff like that, that impacts each area and schools instantly. And once the completion's done, if you can build a 50-plex, you know, and bring 50 families in, that's a huge impact immediately. So that's what I think we need to do instead of doing individual houses. I don't know if that's the answer anymore.
Well, I think it's part of the housing problem is very complex. There's a lot of different pieces to it. Single family houses is one piece. You know, they make like apartment complexes, that's definitely another piece.
That's, to me, that's gonna make a bigger impact quicker.
Yeah.
And if you go single housing and finding investors, it's tough. I mean, you got record high lumber's coming down, but it's still got record high windows now. The lumber's came down, but everything else is 10 times higher than it was 2 years ago, but. We just need something that comes from the state supported for small. Des Moines don't need any more gold domes.
Yep.
But in Louisa County and our smaller communities where we're struggling, we lost 580 citizens in the last 10 years. We need to turn that around or we're gonna be in trouble. And not 5 years down the road, maybe 2 or 3, if this continues to go. We gotta get something in here, better quality, at a good price, a fair price. We have a lot of rentals. I wouldn't live in some of them rentals and nobody in this room would. We got to turn that around where people want to come to our community because we have nice places to live. So it's not gonna happen overnight, but we got to work toward that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she needs to send us some help. Because there's not enough money, we can't do anything. We can make a small part, but
I mean, that, you know, as a builder developer, there's, you know, a lot of these bigger builders still looking for where's the best opportunity where they can go build, you know, 3 apartment complexes or a whole neighborhood of houses, and they can, you know, it's cheaper to build in larger areas than it is to come out here and do 3 houses here.
yeah, we built for 120 a square foot. You go to Iowa City, they're at 240 a square foot, so.
But they can also sell it for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're also doing an investigation on, there's now where people are taking advantage. I think some of your rents in your communities, Iowa City, is up around $1,100 a month. So that's what they're looking at is. We can't have that. People can't afford that. Yeah. And I don't know if anybody could afford 1140 or 1150 a month here in Louisa County. I know I couldn't, so. For rent.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We gotta get affordable housing.
Any other questions?
We need help.
anything else?
That would be it.
That'd be it. Well,
Thank you.
thanks. Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Randy, you're famous.
Yeah.
He is.
You're on here. You got a picture of you on
You're
here.
on the back.
Famous.
Oh. Well, it's been the meet Canada tonight, huh?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
It's beat the candidate.
That was afterwards.
No, this is.
I think that forum's healthy too. I like it.
Yeah.
I wish more people would have shown up.
Yeah.
Les wasn't bad.
I
I was disappointed in Waplo. I really,
Well,
Hoping.
that was the debate of, who was it, Grassley and,
Miller Meeks. Or,
no.
oh, no, that was Grassley Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin that
yeah,
night.
that night, yeah, and I think that
Oh.
had,
Okay.
people wanted to see that. Everything's online,
yeah,
you know, if you have streaming at all, you can go and watch that later.
Yeah.
But, I think that's what was part of Waffles.
Anyway, as a general, the people with Let's, they show up to things. And that library, that community center does a really good job of getting information out to residents. And honestly, I think that community just does, they support each other really well. So I think we are that's always a great location to host things. So I'm looking forward to doing the well water program we have coming up in March for there, so. I'm anticipating to have pretty good turnout for that. Like I said, it's gonna be limited to 30 households throughout the county. So I think it'll be a good deal.
Yeah, that's nothing. We need to get that water back in her vision too, as far as.
Well, it is in the thick of the agriculture.
Yeah,
Water quality is a big deal.
but. Get some money behind it.
I mean, it's hard to do in, towns less than 1,000 people. It's
Yeah.
expensive. You
Yeah.
start breaking it out with.
Well, it's all went for the Raccoon River,
Yeah,
I hate to say, but that
Yeah.
does water.
Yeah.
Almost half the state population.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Biden announcing on the State of the Union about lead pipes and water?
Yeah.
Maybe that would fall into it.
I read a few articles about lead pipes.
I think there's a current thing going on right now, Mike. Delzell's working on something here in town that they have to go through. I think there's funding right now that they have to go up and dig up pipes and see what they're consist of. And make sure there's no lead. I think there's funding right now. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard.
But he was talking about that the other day, that they gotta start digging up and looking at some of the headers that hadn't been inspected for years. To make sure there's no lead or other contaminants in it.
The courthouse.
Yeah,
Little pipes to here.
I guess one final question. So, is the funding request as part of your budget, discussion going on?
Yep.
That's what I was.
We're gonna
Okay,
break and go into budget session here
we have
good luck with
seven.
real
that.
quick.
I realize you guys have a lot of people asking. So.
Yeah, everybody got their hand out this time of year.
Yeah, we have 10.
Try not to do, we haven't asked for 19 years, so. And I will send that photo.
Thanks, Cole.
All right, thank you.
Yep, good to see you.
You too. You ready?
Yeah, do we have any other business?
No, I would,
No, 10:30, she starts at 10:30, so.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right.
And second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
See you at 2:30.
Hold on, so. So you're working toward maybe expanding that a little bit. From 5 to 7 people, maybe.
Maybe it's starting out, maybe we have to get some input on there.
I still think 5 can have enough.
I don't think so either. No, I agree.
But anyway,
And we gotta look at gender balance and we gotta look at all that, cause
we're pushing that.
Yep. Thanks for coming in.
This goal, does he work for other counties too, or?
No, just us.
But he's out of Mount Pleasant,
He lives in Mount Pleasant.
he's just out of his home. Yeah.
No, he works out of the. Down here.
Extension
Extension.
Oh,
Yeah, that's his office. He's-
He has regular hours to extend, or part-time hours of extension.
Yeah,
We just throw money in a big
So
barrel.
see, $12,000, how's his budget? I mean,
Well, most of the
you
budget.
can't survive on.
Iowa State Extension.
Okay,
We're just throwing money in a.
so he's getting paid through them
Yeah,
also.
right.
Oh, because
Yeah.
He's a full-time employee.
Yeah,
he can't.
That's what
he can't- You can't have a full-time employee on $12,000.
that's what Brad was saying. We're just giving them money. We don't have a voice.
Yeah,
We're just-
and I agree.
We're just hoping that, that
We
he
never have.
works for, helps us. He
Yeah.
didn't have
And
to.
I think he does a good job. He's
Yeah,
at the fair
right,
every day.
right.
you know, And I've seen. him.
I just like to get her voice back.
But if the extension office says, no, you're gonna go do this, he's gonna go do that.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, yeah, we've had. Louisa Gutierrez and
Oh,
Sherry Humphreys and the guy that's down in Leeds, Jason Wright was in there.
Paula Buckman was
It's
on.
always a stepping stone.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's been here the longest and
I think he's good at his job.
Yeah.
He's very social. He communicates well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he.
he's going into a lot of a cold call type crowd.
Yeah.
Done
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Where would you?
What did Waffle get? 7,500?
I don't remember. I'll have to ask. I'm kind of out of that loop now.
We almost took it out of the budget at one time. Well, it was kind of a year it sat empty between
Yeah, that's,
Elias and. Cherry Humphreys, we almost quit it.
Okay, so like I said, Tammy is not going to make it in. She is under the weather.
it's fine,
I never wanted
I
to.
would rather,
I told her hers probably didn't warrant special treatment.
it's usually just pretty much the salary.
Salaries was one, and then her publications, since they don't mail out renewal notices anymore, she just put ads in the papers. So she bumped that up a little bit, and she's had a lot of positive feedback, she said, from doing that. And then other was just basic rising costs of doing business. And then she lowered her office equipment because last year she purchased, like I did, that copied her, so she lowered it back down. And then she raised up her office. Sean, her office purchases all the paper for the courthouse and these offices,
Okay.
so.
Where are you? Was her budget in this packet you just
Yeah.
handed us?
yeah, it's down a little ways, it's in this thing there. It's got the little picture of the side.
A color picture then. Well, I'm still.
That's under stationery forms and office supplies.
Right.
There's one, yeah, yep.
See, I was just looking at there's a fee, but she don't have anything on her photocopy fax. There used to be money coming in on that.
Are you on revenue?
Yeah, revenue, I was just looking at would offset that cost.
And why is that? Why is it all go through that?
The
Just,
copier
Yeah,
paper,
just.
I don't know, it's just has always been that way. I don't know if it's something per code or if it's an agreement. I do not know.
by the way things got started here,
Just weird.
used to be, and she'd buy a wholesale paper from the Republican,
And I think it still comes
which
from,
still comes from them.
I mean, in the end, it all comes out. And yeah, right. It just. Everything else is so detailed and then you get one of them random things that.
It's almost getting to where that's almost a biddable.
The what?
That paper. That's a lot of paper.
I think they price it possibly, I don't know.
$2,000. Well, 1,900 is what she's requesting.
Nope, looks good. You know, that's something that we ask us every year when we do the recording of the hunting, fishing and.
Yeah, we make a whole $600 and. I guess the groups I run around, 90% of the people that come to courthouses for, just to make that $600 for hunting license.
That's 50 cents, you know, per
Oh.
license.
Yeah. But if they grab a piece of candy out of the Hey, well, we're losing money.
We're taking pens, take one of their pens and vote, key
Registration.
floaters there, yeah,
Yeah.
they're in the hole. That's funny.
But it's a service that our, people appreciate.
Well, a lot of the businesses has quit selling them just due to the fact that it's a money loser for them.
You used to be able to go to the post office and do that. Can you do that
You
anymore?
still gotta go there to buy a
Stamps.
federal duck stamp.
Stamp, yeah.
But I know a local bait shop quit doing it because credit card charges and stuff like that, more losing battle than the rental of the machine to do it.
You were losing money.
So they quit doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you don't do it at here in the courthouse, you can't get a license in town.
Nope, you have to go to Newport.
Yeah, or Walmart or whatever.
Yeah,
I think the only other one in the county is the Newport, isn't it?
I don't,
Casey sells them in Newport, really? I
They
didn't
did.
know
used to, but I
They
don't,
did. I don't know if they do now,
I don't know if I see the machine there.
but that was the only other place in the county.
And then Louisa have had trouble with the network.
Wow. And that's something.
Anything else on that one?
Go to the one-page complex budget. Look at that. Misnomer, isn't it?
Okay, so, ready to have it?
Yep.
Okay, custodial supplies, I left the same, because. I mean, it's been running a little less than that, but figured you never know. Heating, I lowered. Because we just filled it. So that amount's not showing on this because this was ran the end. Or the beginning of December, or end of December, so, and with the new boilers out there,
Hopefully.
hopefully. And if we get new windows.
That's the
hopefully.
biggest thing.
So I went ahead and lowered it a little bit. Electricity, I left the same because, I mean, and hopefully that'll come down too, but
Well, if we can use American recovery money and change, get LED lights
Yeah.
out there.
Our
And
biggest,
Brandon will be here next week with a quote on that, I think.
our biggest fall right now is our windows.
My lighting bill
And that
shot
comes out
about
of
20% when I went to LEDs.
Oh,
Instantly.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
so
windows will be in the non-departmental budget, so.
Yeah, the windows are terrible. I mean, when it was snowing, I was out there and Randy was showing me that they actually had snow coming in on the building because the windows.
well, I would say public health conference room.
It's ice cold. Okay,
Water sewer, I left the same.
yeah, I think we got through that.
Well,
fiasco.
that pretty much covers that. Guy's contract that is there to make sure the water's clean and
And complex equipment and maintenance. I lowered that a little bit because really we should be,
Should be established.
yeah,
we're fixing a lot of problems. on
yeah,
that.
we've got the new boilers in, we've got the water system. Has
Yeah.
been,
The only thing that we need
More
to do with
builders.
the boilers is get rid of the air compressor and go to. But we're working on that, because right now we have to have an air compressor to do all of our valves. And there just needs to be an update.
that building was bad.
money pit,
It
They
was,
should have been knocked down and we should have started over.
could have,
And it build it way more efficient.
well, you're taking something that's designed for one and trying to force it into something. that don't
Yeah.
work.
Right, well, it was designed in 1974.
Yeah.
For the best of the best. Well, I think here we are.
And we didn't
2024,
It's really do too much maintenance to it also.
Well, and then when
and
it's
the water
time,
was never good.
No.
no,
Still,
And it's beyond us, but why the jail ever got moved out there.
You had a sheriff that pushed it, so.
But that's enough for item one.
Custodial services, I bumped it up. And sanitary disposal, I bumped up too, because if they
We've been
either
training.
get, you know, an extra pickup. Or they go to a bigger dumpster, either one is gonna cost more. So.
Yep.
And real property insurance, I emailed Paul Horak, I have not received back, but I went ahead and bumped that up too.
Yeah, because he said that was half value.
So, well, but we had a big bump last year,
Mhm.
so. I
But it
figured-
should be hitting us now.
I think it hit last year.
Yeah, but didn't that go up 15% more as far as the values? I know our tax values.
I don't know. Anyway. That,
Nope, that looks good.
subject to change if I hear anything from Paul before, but that's.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody wants to change anything, let me know, I will, but that's what I'm going with.
It's still a lower budget than it was a year ago. Right?
Just, yeah, because of the LPs and stuff like that, yeah.
Let's,
That's good. 106.8. Good. John, you got any questions on that?
No. I'm new, I'm just taking it in.
general service. Yeah, now we go to general service.
Okay, so the first line. Everybody got it?
Yep.
Okay. First line is Tracy's salary, and it's a little skewed from last year's number because of the stipend. So this is 10% on the base salary. And then that other is just if he would get part-time help to help with the project for a summer, and I lowered that number down a little bit too.
Do you think that is it to our advantage to move that, some of that over to complex percentages? Do you think that ever needs to be looked at? That where instead of coming out of just one account, we can take it out of.
It's all general basic.
But I didn't know what his percent was out there to show actual costs. You see what I'm saying?
Does he mow out there?
No, not yet.
Who mows?
Conservation.
All right, I was trying to say who doesn't mow.
Yeah, and we
Is
did.
it on Hunter?
No, what's his answer to you was kind of, it's been threatened a little.
So, no,
So
it's easier for payroll.
I saw him mowing when you owned the little building out on the highway. I
Good.
saw him out there mowing.
Public.
That's been sold.
Right, he
So he doesn't do that. Where else does he go?
just mows here, courthouse and around public health.
The food pantry?
Food pantry,
Yeah, I meant food
Food
pantry.
pantry in here.
that's it. And the food pantry one is, that's where the mowers, he has a shop right over there. That's where the mowers start out from right there. And there's 5 minutes of
Why
mowing.
don't you move him out there and have him mow? He's not that taxed, is he?
Not for that. The only thing is the trailer that we had, we'd have to purchase a trailer. Because the trailer we had sitting right back here, that's the one. Yeah,
Twice.
yeah. Took tires off the first time. We had a chain that took tires off.
No, we've had 2 trailers.
We've been to,
Oh, one before me?
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, the one,
But you got a building out there, why don't you just get a little lawnmower and stick it in the building and just leave it out there? I'm just throwing
Yeah,
ideas
something to
out.
look into, yeah. Right now, the conservation's doing it and
They charge you for it though, or is it in
No,
the budget?
no. It's part of, because they have their offices out there, it was.
Oh.
Before starting out, the way I
Yeah,
understand it, that was kind of a gentleman's agreement,
Okay, I get it.
so.
conservation does the big snow removal here. Tracy just does the sidewalks.
Yeah,
With, they've got a plow truck. But then secondary roads plows a path into
complex.
the Sally's port
Mm-hmm.
to the complex. So that the sheriff can push his parking lot off and secondary or conservation can push their parking lot off and then come in and do a little here and then their parks.
It's got several layers.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so then custodial supplies, I brought down a little, because we haven't met that amount for quite a while.
Yeah, we got a pretty good supply.
Parts, you just never know.
Mhm.
Fuels, I bumped up because that includes the van out of that line. Mowing and his truck, all of them come out of that line.
Well, the increased cost too.
Mhm. Uniforms. I bumped up a little bit. Because he's probably gonna need some new shirts and stuff coming up.
Think.
And mileage is 0, and then telephone service, I left the same.
And who's encompassed in that cost? Remind me.
His cell phone is in there, and then like the lines for Permar. The security and that are in that. Like down in the basement, the line coming in for the Permar service. Okay, heating, I left.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but you gave me keys to the courthouse? Yeah, so if I go in there, do I have to shut something off or does this
No.
thing go completely?
It's
deserted?
fire and smoke.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, sorry.
What's the price?
Not that I had any reason to go in there, but I, you know,
Fire and smoke.
okay, okay.
Unless you hit a button. You're okay.
Electricity. It's, I'll be interested to see now that we've got the windows upstairs, those should start coming down. Cause, yeah. We are actually kind of cold down in our office now, and that has never happened for like the past 3 years, so.
And you can look at the heating, how much it's changed since we started doing, when they did the windows downstairs. They actually shut their heat off on first floor. Second floor was calling for heat all the time because they had bad windows. Now she's saying just the opposite now, the buildings.
Yeah, and ours was
Oh,
still
wow.
like a sauna, and we never turned our heat on. It was from the heat going up,
From the pipes.
yeah. So,
So there's, people want to know what that saved, you can look at previous bills. That's a lot of change there.
let's see. Water and sewer I left, building maintenance and repair, I dropped back down to 30,000.
Right,
Because-
once we get tech voted, appointed, we should,
And that should be in this year's, because he's
Yeah.
coming back in March. he
Right.
said, So,
unless our roof,
No, it looks good. I was up there this summer and it looked good.
well, we put a roof that's supposed to last longer.
and any issues, we've had them patched right away.
Right, from a tree and whatnot, and we solved problems from when the thing was constructed. As far as parapet gutters, so.
Where does tree maintenance come in right there? On the, got a couple of
Down out, second from like,
agricultural,
yeah,
you got a couple of trees out there that
and I left. I did put many.
no one cottonwood.
Out here?
He's supposed, it was supposed to come this fall, and I don't know.
Tracy was saying. The guy's got a 70 foot lift, he's gonna trim it down, and then the hollow limb that's.
Yeah.
12 foot, he's gonna put something in there
There was a,
early this spring, cause there was bees in it.
in there, that's why they didn't.
Oh, really?
But we're trying to. Prevent that tree from.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a small haircut, gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, construction, operating construction equipment. I brought down because that's what the payments for the tractor were out of. And it's obviously paid off, so. And then plumbing and equipment and maintenance left it the same. And rental, that's like the water cooler at the courthouse, and then I bumped it up a little bit because Cost custodial services. That is, oh, I can't think,
Yeah,
Letitia. Ernest,
yeah,
I can't think. Serpro.
sort
there we
of,
go.
there we go.
And I bumped it up because I didn't know when we had to re-up their contract, so,
That the same lady that's out at the complex?
yeah.
So she's like one day out there, one day at the courthouse,
One
one
day
day.
at secondary roads.
Okay.
And extermination services left 200 in there.
Yeah, how come we don't have, we need to probably, we need to probably use some of that.
Well, they come over here and they spray here. And that, and it comes out of a different budget.
Since that building has a lot of wood, we gotta periodically, at least once every so many years, check it for termites and stuff too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of wood in that, but I don't.
there's a lot of termites around here too.
Yeah. Yeah, unseen damage is the worst.
Well,
We ought to at least have an inspection.
Well, I lost the Briggs Center one year.
It was, it got so bad and you couldn't see it.
You go up and touch the wall and the whole wall would shake.
So we probably at least have an
nothing.
inspection.
It
once
all
every 5
2 by
years.
4s. It was bad.
well,
You can't see them.
we're in a bad termite
Yeah,
environment, really.
And then sanitary disposal, like it. And agriculture, and that I bumped it up because, yeah, we seem to be losing quite a few trees.
Mm,
And then office equipment, furniture, 0. And then. That below spike and Ipers, so.
And I think we ought to look at transplants and trees, also do some bigger trees.
we'll kind of fill them back in.
Yeah.
One year, the card club, or car club was one that.
Yeah.
And had, come down, planted some trees.
I'd like to get where we have something that's 10, 15 years established, planted.
Get a tree
There's
stayed in.
2, 3 spades in the county that are pretty reasonable to have them.
Right. Well, the one, the car club brought in was from one of the tree spades in the county.
Yep. Because like Sean said, we were getting pretty bare on some of them trees.
Well, it'd been nice if it would have all been set up in a grid maybe,
Yeah.
but now it's helter skelter and.
And some of them trees are donated by memorials also too, so.
They had a car show one, it's been a handful of years ago, but a little bit of wind come out and one of those big limbs out of the cottonwood fell right between 2 cars. And that limb was,
Oh, that's a big tree.
oh my gosh. It was something.
I'd like to know the history of that tree, how
It's
old
been
it
there
actually
long.
is.
Well, if you cut it down, you could count the rings, but it's been there a long time.
I think if we cut it down, we'd have a couple, 3 ropes sitting on another tree.
Okay,
Yeah,
someone was
people are-
talking, you can see where something was painted onto that tree or a sign. Who was telling me about this here a while back? Well, that cottonwood, they painted it with a tar-like stuff so that it wouldn't get some disease. And that was back in the 60s. And you can still, whoever was telling me about it, you can still see it if you know where to look. I think Gene Murray was telling me.
The city's got the same problem with those big cottonwoods down by the fairground.
Right.
They're gonna take some of them down and the fence has grown into the tree. And they're so long.
Alvin Overly's gonna come. He'll be there complaining only.
I have no
Good thing
doubt.
they weren't.
He was here thinking, worried about we was gonna hurt, take it down.
Yeah, there is a certain time of year though, the cottonwood tree isn't a very nice tree to have around.
Well,
Looks like it's snowing.
Oh, Lord.
well, Todd Zip, when he worked for Moore's, he says this cottonwood tree here at the courthouse is best revenue. He says, if there's an air conditioner within 2 blocks of the
It'll
courthouse,
suck
I
it
gotta
in.
clean the thing out twice a year.
Okay, so clerk of court, here's what it is.
That's funny, man.
Yeah. Isn't it though?
Yep. State of Iowa. Maybe that's what we should have set Cole up, give him all more expenses that the state makes us pay for and.
So, let's see. Rental, buildings left the same. We took out the magazines and periodicals because we finally checked into that a couple of years ago and realized that, yeah, we were duplicating and we don't need to pay that. Sheriff transport charges, I bumped them up because we've had a lot of them and it's going up.
Well, yeah,
Interpreter, I left the same because it really varies. Serve notices, I left that one the same. I contemplated bumping it up, but
It looks like it, we just had it's went down over the years, but.
and then court expense, I left it. And that's like for witness charges, if they have a witness and they have to buy them lunch or have travel expenses and that. Legal and court related services, I left that the same. And then sheriff these bottom two are like for the juveniles.
Yeah, it's like it's been 10,000 definitely covered.
And the juvenile detention and shelter has really been hit this year, so.
In the
Because
last
we're
2
like,
years.
almost, I mean, because this was, like I said, early December and
Yeah.
we're well at 50% for that.
what you're looking at there, Brad, though, is our courts was shut down because of
That's why I
COVID,
said 2 years it's been.
and now it's back in, I mean, it hit. Our detention centers, their budget and everything else.
They're still 2 years behind.
The non-departmental revenue or expense.
Okay, the clerk of court revenue, would that be
Some of it is the tickets
in fines?
and fines, and some of it is the fines that Adam and them get, the delinquent fines. Once it hits that percentage, it rolls to them and then it rolls to,
To us?
yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but thank you for answering
And I
that.
don't know how that works, but I know that's what it is. So the expense or revenue.
Let's do expenses on the front.
Okay. Now we get down to the protection security services. And that is the hazmat from Muscatine that we pay them in case we have anything, and that's by population, so.
And that counts for all communities, cities.
It's for the county.
Yep.
Countywide.
Does the cities have it in their budget also too to do that?
I don't know. I just know.
You remember seeing that on a line item, Sean?
To the Muscatine Fire Department.
No, I do vaguely remember one through when we had the police. There was something through the police side of it. I don't.
Cause I know fire department.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is something in that fire department on that.
So we got it covered both ways. They can.
Okay, and then animal disposition, that's the one for if anybody stray out in the county, they can get a refund of $50 if it's taken to Muscatine Animal Shelter.
That looks adequate.
Yeah. And now there's a new one for beekeepers for inspection.
Yeah, that's right.
And one of those, that claim will actually be in the next set of claims, so,
So that's the,
and that's the maximum amount per year that can.
You have to file for that and then they're inspected?
I know the first one we had was last year and there was only, I think, one on it. And this year there was a couple, 2 or 3 listed.
There's at least 2 in the county right now that I know
oh, I know.
of. I visited one.
And it had the mileage and everything on there and then the maximum of 200. So I figure we might as well start budgeting 200 for that,
Let's look
so.
at the high, no bees,
so.
didn't know about that.
Interesting.
Okay, and here is, the top one is building maintenance and repairs, so this is like the general, like the water cooler over here and the extermination services for this building and out of the complex. And different stuff for out of the complex, it's the other buildings besides the courthouse.
Do you think it needs to be that high? I'm looking at the past, is something gonna change on that? I mean, for what we have for dollar amount, don't look like we've even came close, but I've seen unless there's something that we're missing that's gonna be put on to that.
Or cut it in half.
Yeah. It just, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Maybe it needs to be at 6,000, because I've never seen 605.84.
Well,
What is there?
the
something?
numbers, I switched it to that one because really it shouldn't have been on this, it was down on the buildings line.
Hmm.
And for chart of accounts, it needed to be up on this other line. Because the buildings one is like really where the big projects are supposed to be out of, like the windows. And that, so,
How does that work if we take it out of our special assessment funds or COVID money?
well,
Does it
it's,
need to go through that? Should it go through that as far as?
it's. It's gonna be out of this buildings line item for out there. It's. And then it's just, the money is pulled into general basic.
To put it in that account? So if we.
Just like the window, just like the sidewalks and stuff came out of the courthouse budget.
Right,
And had to have it on that line
but
item
the money was.
to spend
transferred.
it
And put
into
it
the
into
general
that.
basic.
Gotcha. So if we move that down to 6,000, would that hurt us?
Let me look
Okay.
and see.
Because most generally, we don't budget in that, we. Take it out of the other accounts that we have, now we got that, that one we can use for building repairs, we did a special ed tax. I think we have,
Cause I was waiting
Quite
to
a bit
get an
in.
amount.
From those local option
Yeah.
taxes, like 700,000.
yeah, it's almost gonna be $1 million after this year, so. That's where all this building maintenance should come from now,
But the COVID got,
yeah, but we ought to start using COVID for maybe something.
Yeah, we
related
have to use
projects.
that American Rescue money
Yeah.
first.
But I'm saying there's other projects that we can use that's for COVID money, so.
So,
but sales tax could go for your ambulances and libraries.
which is what it was
Internet's,
on the ballot as.
and that's what I'd like to use, at least get the good internet for them places.
Okay, so the buildings line beneath that is the one that would be like the amount, rough ballpark amount for the windows. And then the concrete work out there.
Yeah, and we do have a little bit of concrete work, not even close to what we had this year to finish up. We have. The food pantry, if you guys walk by that or look at that, the parking lots probably get hurt looking at it. But we have the side parking lot toward the south that has those who've seen it, the street height and the curb height is probably a foot difference. So we just need to.
Between that and what we got to do at the court by the Sally Port at the,
Where the concrete's broken.
well, he's gonna. take out the sod and concrete at all. Would 40,000 do it or 50?
It'd be probably 50, I think would probably be closer, because concrete's
It's off.
25%.
Right, always, just like Crandall. Okay, then our, she's wanting a figure here, then for the windows. We're looking at 50,000 again,
Probably with labor, you're probably looking under 50. Would be
but
more.
let's budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Cause you don't know what you're gonna run into.
How many windows total?
Oh, boy.
80 some, I think is what we have. There's a window every room's got 3 windows, basically. It's just, and they're all single pane.
$500 a piece, that's.
Oh, you're gonna be,
Yeah.
they're bigger than that kind
They're
of
right here
window.
at 500, I haven't got the money back.
I know, I'm just saying,
Well, let's budget,
$1,000 piece, that's 80,000. So.
Yeah.
Yikes.
so do you
We
think that
had,
50,000 is enough to put in our budget?
Second floor of the courthouse, we had right around $30,000 just in material.
Yeah.
Just the windows. Then you had labor.
That was, you just will double it.
Yeah.
So
And
in
that
your
was-
professional opinion, is 50,000 enough for windows and 50,000 enough for cement? 60 each?
I would say probably. We gotta be careful what we say if we don't get in the paper because we're gonna have people bidding on this, but. No, I think it's probably. 50,000 off. Maybe 170 for everything when you get done, Because the windows out there, I think we have, I think there's 70 some windows out there. And we don't have to do it all this year.
No, we got the America recoveries.
Yeah, and I'd rather have in there more than planned than what we was looking at. Because we got a lot of concrete to do around the buildings to get the drainage away from the buildings is the big thing. We have rock gardens there now that are weed patches.
Yeah.
And we have going to the Sally Port where the road was too narrow. We have to widen it for the equipment. We run out there today through the Sally Port. They're driving across the grass. Concrete's broke. It wasn't done thick enough. The area around the front entrance going into the sheriff's office has a flagpole and that's all gravel, dirt, and it's a mud mess.
Mhm.
And then the area where the deputies park their cars, we have to put charging units so they can shut their cars off and hook their computer into.
Right.
So the computer stays active while they're there, so we have to add addition to it. And then along where they goes down to the boilers, that's all dirt between that.
Yeah, the gravel's even gone.
Yeah.
So,
You want me to put 200,000 in there?
I would, if we don't use it, we don't use it, but at least
Yeah.
it's in there. And it's coming from a fund that we have to have spent that anyway, so
Mhm.
it's not a tax dollar.
and that, we've talked back when we get done with this, we maybe need to talk about the courthouse budget. We talked about a shed out here for Tracy,
Another garage.
another garage. But let's finish this one up.
Okay, and then
I like that. Contribute to other government and organizations. What's that include?
that is Southeast Regional Planning, the C-Bus,
That coal,
Russ. Yes.
Does that
And
include libraries also?
no,
Okay,
they're on their own line.
Then another,
how about,
This is Russ, the C-Bus, Great River Housing. And LDG,
mhm.
and our abuse center, Muscatine? Is that
no,
that?
it's.
Okay.
In,
General Assistance probably.
no, well, it's in. It's in a different one, it's just basically it anymore, so.
Okay, Russ, I know is wanting to go, I think they're at 8,500, he's wanting to go to 9,600.
Jeez.
But you know, if you look back to what we budgeted before, we always budgeted around 35 to 40,000. We've always came into that. So we hasn't spent.
Well, that's what I thought, 40,000 was still gonna be okay.
I think so too.
Mhm. But
But this is only half of the year, 2661 would be go over it. That's the representation of half a year.
Yeah. 52, 62.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering, because that's not a really, that's a half year representation, so
Cole wants another
12, and Russ wants another
95.
90, yeah, wants another 500 instead of 8,500 or 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000 more.
Cole wants 12,000.
Yeah,
You'd be happy with 10. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know. But we have not done nothing for LDG. For the 15 years I've been here.
So I'll
With
take-
the raise in Russ and with the 20,000 for LDG, it would be 47,961.
but is that 26, that's 52, if we go, is that showing the trend we're heading on as our year-to-date activity?
Yeah, is that accurate that we're halfway through, is I guess is what he's saying.
I do not have an LDG payment this year, 'cause I was gonna have to check into that. Like, we didn't get a bill from them.
So the answer to that is no. Basically. And is that raise, do we need to go that step all 1 year? And I think we need to get some voice back into it also.
Maybe that's the carrot you dangle.
Yep.
Maybe baby step like 16. And maybe a voice on the board.
I'm gonna look at it next year, if we go to the other four, the voices
Right.
heard.
Right.
Mhm.
So for Sandy though, she's probably needing to put down, what do you think, 50? I would say 55. If you look at the 26,660.
I think 50.
Huh?
50 if. Because that was with the total amount for LDG was the 47,900 at the 20,000 plus the 96 for
Well, I'm going,
us.
Yeah, because Russ just went up 1,000.
year-to-date activities,
Yeah, but
that's
don't-
at 53, and then I was thinking 4 for LDG and 1 for,
but some of this has been paid all year, like the Great River Housing, that's all year. It's taken care of. Russ is one payment.
Southeast Regional Planning is one payment.
So,
okay, I don't,
yeah, it's not like I have.
It's a-
well, I was just making
The only one
sure,
that's happened is LDG, and I'm not showing the first half payment for them.
okay,
I don't,
so we got
but I
one.
don't know, because at that time my office was switching over,
Mhm.
so I need to check into that.
So you're gonna put it at 50?
Okay, yeah,
50,
Yeah. When it's out of money, it's out of money.
and then we also said 16.
Mhm.
okay, so 16.
And with a more of a voice.
Is somebody gonna talk to them
I will.
then as a representative? Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, and historical preserve,
That's an elected position. You guys gonna run for that? Or how do we? Isn't that extension?
Extension council is, you gotta be on the ballot to be on it.
but the LDG,
LDG, we
they have their own board.
had our own board. I don't care how they do it, but we need to get
But he
back.
was saying that, okay, you're talking about the LDG board, and you're not talking about this.
I don't want to be on the other board. No.
Well, you are on the LDG.
I'm on the
but
LDG, but I don't want to be on that board that's elected. No, I don't want to be on that, but we need to have a voice. They need to redesign.
LGD, he's saying LDG needs a little voice in the budget.
In the direction.
Of their own direction.
So you want, he had said they weren't meeting anymore, or hadn't been meeting, so.
No, I'm on that
basically
board.
you're talking about getting that reactivated.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe a seat at the table when Extension Council does their budget.
Yeah. Yep. We gotta get a direction again.
No, good, thanks. We needed to clarify.
Okay, and Historic Preservation Commission. Okay, and this was confusing to me, and maybe Sean, you have a better grasp of that. But we have Historical Society, which they have their own budget. And then we have Historical Preservation, which is like what Kathy Vance has been in here with.
Right,
And then the others, the museum out there. So. And they're 2,000. To cover expenses of like, at one time they did the signs, and there's gonna be a claim in there too. For the grant work portion until we get reimbursed for the Fairview Church.
Looks like 2000's more than enough, so.
yeah.
Mhm.
The claim is gonna be more than the 2,000, but this was a special project they had going, so I, you know,
For the roof.
yeah. Okay, cemetery restoration, it's 2,000,
Looks like it's
Where
considered.
did that money go?
and that's for the, oh, I can't think of the word for the cemetery,
For the Pioneer Cemetery.
pioneer cemeteries.
Upkeep.
This mowing and whatnot?
Well, it's if a cemetery has a special project that's a pioneer cemetery.
Upkeep.
Probably signage as much as anything.
Or if they need to fix a fence or something like that. Okay, and then Louisa County Fair,
That's a 2 payment deal on it.
yeah,
10 to 15.
Yeah.
okay, and community support programs. I'm not sure, I have to look and see exactly what that is. I think that's the, like, Stork's Nest,
Okay.
yeah, that's what that is.
And we give them an office here.
So, I mean, it's up to you as far as,
I'd leave it alone.
okay. Township trustees and clerks, I lowered it a couple years ago because some of them never, they can get $20 a meeting and a lot of them never turn that in, so.
On that Stork's Nest, the reason we left it alone is because they was paying for an office before, now they got an office for free here, so.
What does the Stark Nest do?
Diapers, stuff for people that can't afford formulas, but diapers is probably the biggest thing, but make sure that
Training on infants, how to take
Yeah.
care of them.
it's part of the educational part of people that don't have the finances to
Okay,
seek help.
Yeah.
Very
and
important.
Other professional, that's for Ice Bailey and that kind of.
Okay,
That's for count. Or audits.
And the next one is group,
I like that. It's got $20,005, so that's right down to the nitty gritty. Do we have any sense?
can we round that off?
Yes.
I want to cut $5 out of that.
Got something.
I gotta do my job here.
okay,
The 20,005 is for auditing or is for group?
it's for auditing, group is, well,
I think he's in that.
No, he's the 20,005 and 48,000 is I Bailey.
Okay.
Okay, down the next line, yeah, yeah.
And the next one down is for the Gatsby report that has to be done every so often, more often now, because they keep making new Gatsbys. And the land is the drainage taxes that the county has to pay.
Basically, the shop at Oakville.
And Waffle.
Well, not drainage. Yeah, Oakville and
And there's a FEMA property down there that we still pay drainage on.
some of the Muskegon Levin Island there.
Yeah, conservation plays on planning for it.
It's split out between them. Okay, and then the very top page, that is the emergency management. 88,889.
With the EMA budget.
Yep.
Yep.
And then down, rural services, the last line on that is the amount for going to solid waste. I don't think that, I haven't heard that anything's changing there.
We have a meeting tonight, or tomorrow, yeah, tonight. Last one got, none of the people attended, but making this.
But it's even more than what it has been, so.
Is there continued upkeep on the old dump in Morning Sun, outside Morning Sun?
Carol, yeah,
Yeah,
Take care of it. That's part of that budget.
is it?
forever.
It seems like, yeah, they're always coming and digging you for something.
Every year we have, because of the natural, reduction of waste underground, because of the environment absorbing it, is we have to put dirt back in to keep it at a pitch. And it's less and less, but then we hire an engineering firm to look over, make sure that they're doing it correctly.
Okay, and then for revenues, it's pretty quick. On the line, that's American Rescue Plan, that's 50,000 is another grant that came out for counties that received paid in lieu taxes. So I applied for that. We already received 50,000 this year, and then next year we get the other 50,000, and I believe, well, we need to discuss that too, I guess. What needs to be fixed down in the basement of the courthouse is what we thought possibly to use that money for.
And that's the old coal storage area that's, the concrete is scaling off and making it a hazard. We gotta move our electrical. Our electrical's in a leakage zone. And since we did the concrete out front, it seems like it's the slab is letting water come through it more often, and our electrical panels are directly underneath of it. And so we need to move our electrical panels out of that room and into the other one. It's a 208 3-phase system, and 2 panels, the boxes are rusted top and bottom.
What's underneath that hollow
That's it.
concrete? Is that
The
it? That
Electrical
where it's at?
boxes.
It's all partitioned off?
Yeah, where we have the rope.
Yeah.
Right underneath it's where the electrical boxes sit.
That was a great idea.
Yeah. And it
And
needs moved.
our elevator has its pump in an area. We could abandon that whole room once we move it, but we can't because they put the elevator hydraulic systems in that part too. It's a cluster, so we're gonna have to do, what I recommend doing is taking that concrete out instead of putting concrete back on it, because we got the thing wide now. Is build a subject or building parapet wall up from it and then put something permit that you can't drive on, but it's also slope roof, below bathrooms. And not put any vehicles, because if a fire truck ran over, that's why we did that, is anything big, they'd be in the basement, so. But we did widen our parking out front, or driveway in front, so now it's manageable.
Get by.
It's easier to drive all. But I agree with her, I think that's something.
So at
we
least
need
there's
to-
100,000 gonna be sitting there to do
Good.
that project.
Yeah, because electrical is gonna be the biggest part of it.
So, and then the payment to, that's what we get reimbursed, that was in Bobby's budget coming up. Oops. Just waiting, okay. Coming up for that. And then on the local option sales tax, that's what I guesstimated will be coming in from what we've been seeing so far. And plus we got the extra dollar store out there, and if we get the other one with the groceries and that in there, I'm
It
thinking.
should be, last word, they should be open by Thanksgiving of next year.
So,
I just talked to him on the phone. So, but they just came through this morning with a list of amendments to the sale agreement, so this will send Kim through the roof.
Yeah. On the American Rescue money, what's our total? What we have to spend?
that's what I gave you that last meeting. Do you still have that?
Oh, I have it. Just gotta find it.
Just work.
Because, and that's gotta be all accounted for by next year, right?
I believe so.
So we have to,
Fall of 24.
yeah, we have to make a plan.
Well, there's an ambulance coming out of it, so
Well, and
we
we,
decided to use it that way.
we have an ambulance, but we also have the other, the taxed. Special tax money that we could use this stuff for also too, so we have both, and see what we got.
It was that 1,191,242 with the stuff that we didn't think about when we did the other projects that's gonna come out this next amendment.
So it's minus 175,565.
Yeah, because that's up above the total that we have, and then I continued on, so that bottom number is with all that, of the 175 out.
Okay, so we have 1,191,242.17
To spend.
to use before the fall.
Yeah.
But we have to put a direction on it. That's what is required by the fall of 24. You've got to show that you've got that money accounted. for.
Yeah, or an ambulance ordered or
Whatever.
or two.
Well, that never goes as far as you think it will.
No, no. Well, we've just sitting here in the last hour, we spent about 300,000.
And this is as of January 1st.
All right, we done with that one?
I do have it, but I don't know where it's at. Thank you. Is there anything else on that? That we have to do on that one?
I think so. Let's go out with one. If so, I'll just wing it.
Okay, so we gotta get
Veterans Affairs and then mental health, right?
that'll be 9.
Get up, let's go. Time's money.
Adam,
Are you guys ready?
we're ready for you, buddy.
He'll get us back on time.
Yep.
Colin the Marine.
Morning, good morning.
Morning.
This is gonna be long and arduous.
I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah,
Okay,
this year I'm gonna resign my position, the latter part of, summer, possibly in the fall, depends on who we get and how quickly they come up to speed. In saying that, that's the reason why you see a bump in salary, so we can bring on the new person, get them trained, then accredited, and then, once they're, accredited, I'll go ahead and pull shocks.
Kenny, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Likewise,
Sorry to see you go.
thanks, Sean.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just,
I know you
this
do.
job just requires so much,
No, you made a difference.
detail, and this last year was just health-wise, it just horrible for me, and
It's an eye opener.
yes, it is.
We're not Superman.
No, not at all. So, yeah, we have the total for the salaries is 33,960. That covers 3 months of me staying on after we get the new person hired, and we expect to have that person here July 6th. And then we'll start the training and accreditation process.
Get your eyes on somebody.
I've heard a couple of good names that once we put our advertisement out, we'll get those applications, but I think we're gonna have 2 viable.
Good.
Replacements, absolutely. The state funds totally have not changed. We're still given the $10,000 a year from the state of Iowa. Although some of those funds have been reduced or increased, but nonetheless, that total amount has not changed. Same thing for the county funds that are provided as well. Any questions?
No. The school of instruction, I see that just went up 500, but is that more due to the fact that it's COVID, we just have a lot of.
Well, that and prices have increased for hotels.
To fly to, usually your federal credentials is in $10, you gotta fly there.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, it seems like everything has gone up and that reflects that increase.
Well, looks great.
And pretty straightforward, and not a whole lot of bells and whistles, so.
Yeah, is the, you think the utilities and rent payments, is that where we need to be, or I just don't know.
You know, it's a mishmash, you know, some years are more for rent and then others it's less.
Yeah.
This year, it appears to be,
Higher.
well, yeah, higher, but the utility payments seem to be more going out than we have rent at this time, but that, again, that's a monster that changes each month.
Yeah, it just seemed like there'd be more people taking advantage of that program than just.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of
Well,
through community action.
and yeah, and that information is out to our veterans when I go visit with them at home visits, or when they come in to see me, or when I go to the VFW or the American Legions, that information is provided, so.
Because several years ago, we had a lot of them taking advantage of it, and
Yeah.
it seemed like it just kind of went away, yeah.
But we're still providing that
Yes.
service, and there's still, we still have claims, but
Yeah,
maybe not as much as we should.
right. Now. I liked everything but you changing, that's the only thing, but nope, that looks good. Like I said, we appreciate it, no.
You don't have to accept it, your signature.
No.
It's up to his board.
You know,
I talked to my commission, and they're well aware of what's going on, and they,
He wants to go to Disney World.
yeah,
you're gonna retire again.
again,
Yeah.
well, I don't return, I didn't do 20 years, but
Yeah, good for you.
so, all right, gentlemen,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Get that Nova done.
We'll retire.
Yeah, right?
Okay, we're just a little bit behind.
That's if they were. I told them whenever, it's not written in stone, and they don't have appointments and meetings, and it actually worked out better. for it.
You good?
Been busy,
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
Good morning.
Morning.
Who wants to take the lead here?
All right, I'll start. So when you're looking at the general assistance, budgets, you're probably looking at, let's see. If we look at the assistance services, so that's where we have like the prescription meds, the, funeral services, utility payments, things like that. We'll just keep it at the same that we have. That is different every year. Sometimes we can help people, sometimes we can't. We do a lot more referrals than we do approving people for county funding due to our income guidelines. So that's staying the same. Any questions there?
All good there, don't?
Yeah, the funeral services are probably the line item that I worry the most about. Some years.
Sporadic.
People die. Yeah, it's just all over. So yeah, that's the one that we look at the most there. Revenue is pretty much non-existent. I don't know if you have any. Right.
Funeral services are people that can't afford it, is that?
Correct. They have to meet guidelines, county guidelines, and so basically they have to have no income. Even if they're living with a family member, then the family member has income, and typically that's over income guidelines.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's usually somebody that's alone, doesn't have life insurance, there's no savings or checking account to pay for anything.
How many of them do you have a year?
We have had, we budget for 4, we've had in excess of like 6, 7 1 year.
Our first year of COVID, we had a family of 2 or 3.
Yeah, and there was COVID funding during that time, but it wasn't COVID that the reason that they passed, so that
Crazy.
doesn't, so it doesn't help to pay funding that way, so. Yeah, it just varies, there's no outguessing that one, so. I mean, I was just contacted today for another one, so you never know. Then looking at the actual admin budget. So this is where you'll see some changes. We are flipping the general assistance to 60% and mental health to 40%, whereas previous it was 60%. Yeah, exactly. So that's how you'll see the general assistance portion go up. And then it just kind of trickles down there. So if you have any questions on there, I can answer them, but I'm not sure exactly what you would be looking at. Obviously, like diapers goes up with salary, and so the other things are pretty much in line or the same, or there's yeah, if you have any questions.
I do not.
Bobby,
Nope.
you can go ahead and speak if you'd like on this one.
So the Fund 6 budget that we have obviously will just be the mental health share of Cindy. Everything that has to do with me now is paid through Washington County. Since it's state funded, we just reimburse Washington County, so we don't even have to deal with that with Louisa's budget. So whatever splits we decide that Cindy will be for MHDS, then those will just be reimbursed by the state through the Fund 6. So she keeps track of her time that she spends for general assistance, and then we try to just appropriate whatever those splits are. So whatever she's not doing for GA, she'll be doing for MHDS, and we'll pay it out of that fund.
That's why it's a wash. Basically, that's why it's a wash from expense to revenue.
Correct.
On MHD.
On, right, MHDS.
Well, I have no trouble with this, the new split.
Yeah, and every year we'll analyze that, go through.
So you're kind of keeping it, I see your cart, you're.
Yeah.
Time study.
Every 15 minutes I have what I do in my office, and so that we can go through and we can split however it needs to be, so yeah.
Makes it simple this year, don't it? It just gets simplicity, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah, I have been doing that since I was here, like, I mean, just
Every
a
15
normal daily routine for me.
every 15 minutes reminded me of Pat. Right there.
You're right, sure it did.
Anything else?
Nope, just the only thing I guess you might see in that mental health one is that the telephone service, we did not budget for that any longer because we pay that directly through the fiscal agent now, so there wasn't a need to have that included in the budget, so we're just strictly paying for reimbursement of Cindy's salary.
Sounds good.
It's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every year.
Pretty simple for you guys now.
Yeah.
We do all of our budgeting through the governing board and the fiscal agent, so.
It used to be and now it's night and day, so, yeah.
Well, you wasn't here when Pat did it and we levied for it.
No.
And it was always a wild card at the end of budget. How much you should levy and.
Yeah,
About pulling her hair out and everything, but
yep. Now we just do that at the region level.
there you go. Yeah.
Go from a 10-page budget to 2-page.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
Good to see you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Only thing I see on general assistance services, it says Grandview Fire. The last line item, something. 4150.
Wasn't
It'd be
that
on the budget on physically, general assistance services.
Grandview fire victims, there was a special,
fun?
the community grant gave a special grant for the people that lived
Displaced.
above the apartments in Grandview.
They had went to church.
Okay,
The big fire.
all right, yeah, okay.
And Red Cross, so they stepped up.
Hey, now it's come back up.
Take a break.
Unless you want to do one,
Can't, I don't have anybody here.
Yeah, we're gonna have zoning and public,
oh,
Brian T here,
Very good.
So. We're good.
and then John for IT.
it'd be that way.
Break. Formally or.
Then the
I'll be back at 1. I'll make a motion that we take a break now and return back at 1 o'clock.
second. Okay, motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Die.